welcome to NWA Connie Corso's podcast, where we talk all things dogs.
What's the deal?
The deal.
Hey. What's going on, dog lovers? We got a special super duper episode today, y'all. We back again. Got Joe Church, NWA Connie Corso's very special episode interview with All World Doberman Club, Gerald Antoine. If you didn't know, this is what's going on tonight, y'all. We're going to be talking about it all. We're going to be going into dogs. We're going to be talking about life. We're going to be talking about the man behind All World Doberman Club. Thank you for joining, dog lovers, and a special shout out to my board buddies. What's going on, y'all? We bringing it to y'all live and direct, straight, no lace, no fluff, uncut. We're going to give it to you real, and it's going to be raw. What's going on, Mr. Church? What's happening? NWA, what's up, Gerald?
Man, I'm tripping like that fucking intro, man. Well, you got a choir up in there?
Yeah, something fresh every time.
I like that. I love it.
Yeah.
Make me feel that we're getting in a smooth mood.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I love the like NWA Connie Corso.
Yeah. I love it. Yes, sir. Thanks to my homegirl Cheryl Humphreys over there in North Little Rock. I appreciate it, sis.
Shout out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get her on some tracks. You know, I'll be making them meat beats too. You know.
yeah, that's what's up. Well, we got the man. Here.
Finally. I've been waiting on this day.
Yes,
I've been waiting on this day, man.
Yep.
I didn't know what was going on, man. Come on, what's up, Gerald?
We gotta keep it PG-13.
Do we?
No, hell no.
Let me get my light on. There we go. Okay. Yeah, man. Well, we glad you're here, brother. I've been getting a lot of requests and I've been getting a lot of calls about it today, and I'm ready. You want to tell the world a little bit about yourself, brother?
Well, I'm black.
Yeah.
No, I'm Gerald, and I'm glad you guys have me on today. This is pretty cool. I'm checking out that people are just already chiming in, waiting for this show right here. This is a good thing. We got some good followers, good content, and people love what we're doing. And that's really support is a major thing with us. We got to support each other. And no, man, it's I'm complex, but I'm simple. You know what I'm saying? Like it don't take much to make me happy, and born and raised. Well, I will say this. People don't know this. I'm gonna let it be known now. I was born in a city called East St. Louis, Illinois. I was there for 3 days after birth. And then my grandmother moved us back to Mississippi. So, back in 71, it was still a little bit bad vibes and bad energy when your mama had kids out of wedlock. So my grandmother sent my mother off to go have us and come back with babies. And I'm like, you do know that my mama Terry came back with a stomach flat and 2 more babies with her, because I'm a twin. And it was really weird, but it's when you grow up in Mississippi, man, you don't grow up with soft hands, you earned money on your own as a teenager. You bought your own clothes when you couldn't afford it, when you go out there and cut grass. And back in Mississippi, we have real yards. Like, you better cut that grass early in the morning because it's going to get hot as hell out there. And that grass is going to be wet, right? And you got to empty that bag. So I'm not immune to hard work. But again, it's really weird because me and my twin brother are not supposed to be here. We were accident, so it wasn't like we were planned and holy matrimony. And from that whole point, it's been almost like we were up against the wall, even though we had family support, but we had family support by a default. Like, nigga, you in the house. So we with you, but we ain't with you all the time,
Right.
And so grow up in Jackson, Mississippi. My mom is she rests her soul, but she battled with addiction. Back in the 70s, I can remember her sifting the weed, because back then weed had seeds in them. So she's sifting the seeds out with the Marvin Gaye album. Then in the 80s, it turned to crack, and then in the late 90s, cocaine, and then in the mid 2000s, alcohol, right? So growing up in that environment, I kind of see how that stuff controlled her movement. Like, we were never priority. We was secondary, right? And so my twin brother, who's an academic genius, was able to get a academic scholarship at Jackson State. And me trying to be the athlete that I thought I was, I decided I wanted to go to junior college. But let's backtrack though, because in high school, if I had the family support to let me do what I want to do and play baseball, try to play basketball, I would have done that, right? Because I love competition. I was always an A-type guy, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And people who knew me back in 1988, 89, they knew of me being a mischievous kid. I wasn't robbing and stealing and pillaging and all that stuff, but I was mischievous. I was cutting class and leaving campus during campus hours, and we're getting suspended a lot because of that, right? So the people that went to high school with me, they remember that part, and when I see them now, they're like, well, I remember you from 1989. I don't know this 2024 Juro, right? And I'm like, I don't know that guy back there no more in 1989. I've evolved, I've propelled, I ascend. And it's interesting because I thought about something when I talked to you guys. Before I talked to you guys, I was like, let me tell this story. So let me give you an example. And I'm gonna put some names on this shit, right? Because at this point, I really don't care if the guy knows who I'm talking about, because I ain't hard to find. Mm-hmm. And I had moved to California in 94 after graduating from school. And this is how the mentality was of some of the classmates that I went to school with. Even though this guy graduated in 88, I graduated in 89. And his name was Marcus Yunkins. And I kind of knew in high school, I said, he's a little bit fruity, but I really wasn't tripping because, Sigmund Freud said every man has feminine characteristics. Some are greater than others. And one of my dear friends who was closer to me than my own twin brother was gay. I wasn't tripping, right? I don't care what you do in your bedroom. I ain't got to do it with you. And this is like 10 years ago. So I would go back to Mississippi once a year during the summertime. And it was a outdoor jazz concert at this field over there behind Smith-Will Stadium. Smith-Will Stadium is our AA baseball field where Darryl Strawberry played. It was called the Jackson Mets. Darryl Strawberry played for the Jackson Mets. And then it became the Jackson Generals, which was the Houston Astros AA rendition. So I went back about 10 years ago and I saw Marcus. And I didn't think nothing of it because I'm like, yo, we went to school together. Even though I graduated with his sister, he graduated in 88 or 87. And he still looked the same, looked good. I mean, he's staying fit and stuff. He's living in Atlanta now. Mm-hmm. Wasn't tripping. So how I greet dudes, when I ain't seen him in 30, 40 fucking years, and I know you and we know each other first and last name, I'm gonna come up to you, give you a pound. Like, what's up, man? I ain't seen in a while. You look good, man. You ain't croaked over in diabetes and shit. I mean, you looking good. You still here. Mm-hmm. And you know what he did to me, man? He was like, this is Marcus. This is what he did. He put out his pinky and gave me his pinky to shake. I'm like, so you going by 35-year-old Gerald? Really? You gonna give me your pinky to shake your hand? I extended a real handshake. And I was like, okay, same guy who had whose sister dated a a real gangster ass thug, which I never was, right?
Mm.
And I'm like, wow. So it's acceptable to be ratchet on the other side, but when me and you ain't had no relationship, and I'm greeting you as a grown man, he was like, you're going back to 1989, dog. I don't know that guy no more.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that guy. So, you know, you fast forward, you know, got out of high school, and I was at Hines Junior College my freshman semester. And Coach Murphy, who was like a big time football coach, had a thing going on where you can try out for a scholarship at a junior college. And I still had baseball skills. So I was trying to go to Hines Junior College in Raymond, which at that time, guys, Hines was like the largest junior college in the nation. I mean, that shit looks like a university. It's that deep.
Mm-hmm.
And I went there. I tried out for the baseball team, made the baseball team, and I didn't get the football scholarship, right, as a receiver. They had a bunch of cats coming out who've been playing football for a long time. But what I did forget, what I forgot to do is that I got to pass my grades. So my second semester, the counselor called me and she said, hey, you know, you can go to school here, but you got to pay because your GPAs are 1.9. So we can't give you no Pell Grant money if you are academic probation. So my twin brother called me, and without him, I probably wouldn't have went to Jackson State. He called me and said, hey, man, he said, if you come to Jackson State, I get you a job on campus. It's called work study.
Yeah.
And mama, which is our grandmother, we called her mama, and mama will co-sign for you for a new car. And from that point, dude, the following semester, I never looked back. I always maintain a certain GPA, 2.8, 3.1, to make sure I'm not in academic probation. Because my grandmother's born in 1918. So they believed in spare the rod, sport a child. And back then, my grandma would pick up anything within reach and whoop your ass with. And she ain't dealing with no switches. Fuck all that. She wants something that's going to stick to your ass. So she had this thing called, listen, grandmothers named their whipping equipment. So my grandmother had a equipment called Mr. Green. Mr. Green was a cut-off hose pipe. And we talking about an industrial hose. We talking about plastic shit. Yeah, I'm talking about the rubber, the double rubber. And we used to get beatings, man. Like I would go to school, man, with hose pipe marks on my back and on my forearm. Shit where you would like go to prison for today.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was real conflict. It was real conflicting, man, because when my grandmother used to beat us, she said, I'm doing this because I don't want the white man to do it, but I'm also doing it because I love you. And that's really conflicting because you don't beat nothing you love.
Right.
You chastise, you correct, you discipline, but you don't beat what you love. It's just, I can't beat my dog unless my dog is doing something to a child that's detrimental to his life. But as far as beating animals, I couldn't grasp that, right? So I never understood, well, you know, I'm doing it because I love you. And she always said, you better not make me miss. If I miss, I'm going to hit your ass 2 more times on top of that one, right? Yeah. So I chose, man, going to Jackson State and living on campus, which was only like 12 miles away, as refuge.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of guys who I went to school with, whether they tell you or not, them niggas chose staying on campus for a reason. Some of them they were out of state, didn't have nowhere to go. Some of them went to school to get out of Chicago because they either gonna go to college or be dead on the street. So I chose college as refuge. It just so happened, man. I was like, I enjoyed this shit. I'm like 7-1 girls and knocking them down, and like, and I had hair back then.
Right.
I was a good looking dude, and I was like, damn, I had a new car too.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
So I just stayed the course, man, and I had an opportunity to get on with the police department. You know, I was a criminal justice political science major, and I had the opportunity to get on with Gulfport PD or get on with Houston PD because they was coming up to campus and recruiting.
Oh wow, yeah,
yeah. PDs are always recruiting college people because you're too fresh to have a criminal record after college. And like, we're gonna catch you before you fuck up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I had an aunt, my mother's baby sister, who's only 9 years older than me. She lived in Oakland.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't have cared if she lived in New York or Baltimore, Philly. I just knew that life was much bigger than Mississippi.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Before I go out there with my aunt, who's been in Oakland for like 15 years, so I said, let me enroll in graduate school at Jackson State because I need that more student loan money, right? And so I enrolled in graduate school, but I knew graduate school didn't start for like another month after graduation, right? Because I was going to summer school, graduate school. And I went out to Oakland, man, got 2 jobs in 2 weeks, man. So I was making full-time money. I was making pizzas for 25 hours a week. And then I was breaking plainclothes security, trying to catch shoplifters at Target, man.
Mhm.
And it was in Oakland, it's a lot different. Listen, wherever you see on Oakland, this shit is real, right? Listen, Oaktown niggas are the craziest.
Boy, they wild. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, man, 30 days later, man, first of all, it was funny because when I was cooking pizza, this is how long ago this shit was. I was making pizza at this place called Bronco Billy's Pizza out in a city called San Ramon, out there where all the baseball players, and this is when your boy hitting all them home runs, Mark McGuire and them and all that shit.
Yeah.
Cause they live in Danville, a little neighborhood called Black Hawk, and I wasn't too far from making this pizza. And the first time I saw picture in picture, man, like you saw a picture in picture, like you saw a show right here, and then you see another show up in the corner, right?
Mhm.
And I was watching the OJ slow speed chase while I'm watching the Houston Rockets playing the championship.
Yeah.
And I was burning up because at that time I got so good with making pizza. I was making wings through the pizza oven. So I was making some shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And from that point, man, the director at for my graduate studies was calling my grandmother. That's one thing about HBCUs, man. You gonna get phone calls. They want to know where you are. This ain't no PWI where it's 1,000 motherfuckers in one class. They get involved, right? And they says, Gerald coming back to school. Her grandma said, child, he gone to California. And by that time, dude, I didn't know where Golden State Warriors were. Because, you know, all I saw was Tim Hardaway and Chris Mullin, but I didn't know those niggas was in Oakland.
Yeah.
Because by that time, the Raiders were in LA. So I didn't know, right? And, and then 2 years later, of course, they moved back to Oakland. But no, man. And then, you know, I put a lot of applications in. I got on with a local PD up there, did that for a while. And then my twin brother was working for the Internal Revenue Service because he always had a job.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he was in college, he had an intern job with the Internal Revenue where they paid. Mm-hmm. My intern was free.
Mm-hmm.
And we had this dream, man, of being an entrepreneur because my grandfather was an entrepreneur. On my mother's side, everybody was, you know, because back in Mississippi, my grandparents, and they're in this book called The Green Book. The Green Book is a book that was actually out about places where black folks can go to visit down south. That movie called The Green Book, that shit was real.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandparents' stuff was in there. I looked and I said, the Henderson Cafe Grill Hotel, that's what they own. Because we was working there as a kid, stocking liquor and, you know, picking up 100-pound sugar bags and taking them to the restaurant. So, man, it was a trip, man, because I was never afraid of hard work or challenges, man.
Right.
And you know, moved to LA early 2000, 2001, took a leave from the PD. Me and my twin brother said, let's start this business together. I was like, what kind of business? Because my brother was making more money. I think at the time for the Internal Revenue Service in 2003 or 4, he was making like $95,000 a year before taxes. That was still good.
Right, yeah, that's good right now.
Good right now, right. And so he said, man, I'm selling these projectors. I'm like, what the fuck is projectors? And there was those things you project images on the screen. And it was the movie theaters were using other than the 35 millimeters or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And he was buying them from pawn shops for like $200. And at the time, eBay was just cracking. Like it just started. So he was making $1,400, $2,000 a week on eBay.
Mhm.
And that was after everything was sold and shipped. I was like, well, man, we can do this, but if I'm gonna give up my gig, I got to get paid. So he gave me a little salary, $2,000 a month, which is more than enough because I was trying to get my own apartment again, a 1-bedroom, and it just happened, man. And then, listen, there was one class that I took in college that has probably helped me out more than anything I've learned in college. There was a class called Business Professional Development. Now, I didn't major in business, give a shit about that.
Mhm.
But it taught me how to interview, taught me how to dress for an interview, how
Mhm.
to talk, how not to come in there with all these Mason pens or Kappa pens on,
Mhm.
how not to put that kind of shit in your resume to leave questions for people to figure out what does Kappa Alpha Psi stand for? What is this Mason thing? Because, white folks and other people are like, is that a cult? Is that a
Yeah,
gang?
yeah.
They don't know, right?
Right.
And it taught me how to introduce myself. And so one of the companies that gave us our first big line of credit, $200,000 line of credit, was a company called NEC. NEC was big with projectors and cell phones. And I went to this thing called it's called CES show, big electronic show in Vegas every year. I was going there with the polo shirt, the khaki pants. Yes, sir. How you doing? I'm Gerald. We're gonna sell these stuff to the black churches and the minority groups. And I was using the hell out of that card.
Mhm.
And man, it just one thing went to another, and we went from making 20,000 a month to like 400,000 gross a month.
Woo.
That's gross. That's before all the inventory is paid for.
Right.
And then the manufacturers like Mitsubishi and Panasonic is like, Gerald, we'll give you co-op dollars and rebate money, but you got to get a brick and mortar. You can't be working out of your house. At that time, my brother was a homeowner. So we got this place in Bell Gardens, and dude, it was brick and mortar. 3 years later, I bought the fucking building.
Mm.
My first taste of commercial real estate.
Yeah.
And by that time, I'm so knee deep in the business, I gave up my post certification to be a police officer again, because you can only take a leave for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
After that, you got to get recertified. I ain't going through no boot camp all over again. Let folks scream at me and talk shit and all this other. Not doing all that. I'm getting old for that shit now. I ain't went to the gym in almost a year and a half because I'm paid. I don't have to work out no more. I was at like my peak weight. So I'm 6'2.5". I was like 280, man.
Ooh.
And I carried that shit well because I had on big clothes.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have known unless you look at my face.
Yeah.
And
you said I'm lifting them racks.
Yeah. Man, I'm the tomahawk racks, man.
Yeah.
But I was paid. Now I see why people who will let themselves go when they rich, because like I don't need to go to the gym. I'm fucking paid, right? And no, man. And then the recession hit. I remember I did a little work with an insurance carrier before. Well, take it back. I used to go to the fire departments during Monday Night Football. There ain't no crime going on during Monday Night Football. That's the lowest crime rate during that period. So I used to go to the police. I used to go to the fire department and hang out while I'm working on as a PD, because all the firemen know how to cook and sleep. They're good cooks.
Yeah.
And I was talking to one of the firemen. He said, man, I made more money part-time than I did full-time. I said, how the hell you do that? Because you get paid to sleep. He said, I'm a fire investigator. Fire investigator. So yeah, he said, I determine cause and origin. I said, shit, that sounds interesting, right? Because the average hourly rate now for a fire investigator, private fire investigator, is usually like $125, $140 an hour, $150. That's like right now.
Yeah.
And Recession hit in 2010. I'm going through a divorce. My wife at the time, she's from Belize, but she's been living in LA all her life. I couldn't have a dog. Bankruptcies. Listen, I had personally guaranteed almost $2 or $3 million of goods. Yeah. So when I bankrupt 7 figures. Fuck all that bankrupting 10 grand, 12 grand. That's bullshit. I get a payment plan for that.
Yeah.
But I bankrupt shit that because at that time I had already bought all these real estates with these bullshit loans with countrywide and interest only for 5 years, and didn't know what that meant until I started getting that principal and interest payment. Now the shit doubled. And man, just recession hit, depression hit real hard. And I remember I was watching, first of all, I've watched all the Forensic Files shit twice. Every episode. And Dateline ID with Maury Maher and Lester Holt. I know all these series, dude. I would have the same clothes on for 3 or 4 days and just eating Marie Callender cheesecake pies and shit. It was bananas, man. And I had to file bankruptcy to stop foreclosure. Because that's the only reason why you can't get foreclosed on if you're going through bankruptcy. Yeah. That buys you a few months.
Yeah. Yeah, stop the deals.
Yeah, man. And at that time, Bank of America had took over the processing for Countrywide because Countrywide had just went under. And I owe my ex-wife, well, she was going to be my ex-wife, about $125,000. And she worked for LAPD as the systems engineer or something. So she had a good job. But her money was her money. And my debt was my debt. And I was bringing my business debt to our personal relationship. And I owed her about maybe, I probably owed her maybe like 30, 40, 50 grand maybe. Because she had used her personal line of credit. We used our joint account money. And I remember, man, borrowing some money from her to buy some Yamaha receivers, because we sold consumer electronics, TVs, flat screens, home audio. That was our thing. And we were literally in the car crying because this is $3,000. This is all we got. And I'm like, I could turn this into like $3,500. Right. And it was crazy because I had to go to her job and pick it up. And I was like, man, something got to change. And of course, that took a toll on relationship. She moved out back into her own house. And I thought I still had child support obligations. Motherfucking government child support department don't care about you. Ain't got no job. Don't care about that. They're like, motherfucker, you still owe $300 a month. And that was a lot of money for me back then in 1998. But that was an agreement we made versus, because my child support was non-welfare. That means the government didn't get involved. No.
Oh, they didn't get a cut.
No, they didn't. They wasn't providing food stamps, none of that for my child's mother. We came up with an agreement.
Good, yeah.
And because they had the government got involved, that'd have been triple double. And I'm getting these letters, man, from the DMV talking about we're gonna suspend your license and shit. I'm like, this is just child support, man. So I thought about what that fireman said. He was like, man, if you get your license, you can make some money. So, man, I tell people this story, man, all the time who trying to get state exam certified. I got my fire investigation license in 2012. And I tell people, I said, listen, I took that test 16 times in 70 days. And each time it cost me $68. This company called PSI. They do exams. You can go to any location and take a state exam for California. And that 68 time I said, let me change and stop taking it in Carson. Let me go to Orange County where the white folks said, get a change of venue. So I drove 45 miles to take the test over again, because each time you take that test, it's a different series. You're not getting the same test. It's like they got 5 versions of this damn test.
Right.
And I started studying. I bought the study course online. I was calling the guy who made the study course. I'm blowing him up. I had to learn how to learn again. So I'm making acronyms, cue cards, highlighters. You know, every good boy does find how to remember all that shit, man. I was making up names. Oh, this is what this means right here, right? And all I had to do was make a 70. It was 100 questions. So that last time I took it, I passed 73 questions.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And that's all it took. And then from that point, Lois of London gave me a lot of work. AIG gave me a lot. Lois of London gave me the most work because from 13, I was getting a lot of work. I'm talking about I was in every state. I had, because when you get licensed in California, New York, a lot of states give you reciprocity. It means you ain't got to do no testing. It's as long as you pass their DOJ, you can get the license. So I was chasing fires, chasing real losses, big ones, storms, whatever. I'm licensed.
Mm-hmm.
And man, and I never say this online, but from 15 to 17, I made a net 1.6, 1.5.
Nice.
Net.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not going for the banana in the tailpipe no more. I'm gonna put my money where all my Jewish friends be doing their shit. I'm putting in real estate.
Yeah.
So instead of putting down 10% or 20%, I was like, fuck this. I'm gonna put down 35, 40%. Because if the tenants can't pay rent, I can still carry the note for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Versus now I gotta walk away because 10% down on a $600,000 building, you coming out of pocket.
Woo, boy.
Yeah, so from that point, man, I've done pretty well. Got a new wife now, and life is stable, but I still have that Jerry Jones mentality. You know, people asked Jerry Jones before.
Debbie Pittman.
Oh,
My fault. Go ahead.
you want to catch that?
No, let me turn that on.
Oh, no, please.
Yeah, let me turn that up. My fault.
So people ask me like, why are you working so hard still? I said, because I'm afraid of being broke. That's what Jerry Jones said.
Yeah.
And since I know what it feels like to be broke, I'm like, I don't want to go there again. I don't want to go there again.
George Foreman said, never stop earning. Never stop earning.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I listen, I may have money. I may have debt. I may have real estate, but I'm afraid of being broke. I've been there before. I've been like Edison Power Company out here. Them motherfuckers are quick to cut you off if you 2 months behind, and their light bill is high, and you got to run the AC around some of these places here in LA. And I'd never want to worry about, damn, $200. I ain't got that. And and it's weird, man, because now, looking back at my life, man, it's like, damn, it's like I always said, a real man's character is never judged when he's on top, because everybody's on top at some point. Jesse Jackson was on top before he got caught with his girlfriend at the Rainbow Coalition.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Clinton was on top until he got caught up in that scandal.
Yeah.
Everybody's on top, but when you hit your bottom, how are you going to come up?
That's
how you going to? Yeah. Your characters. Listen, like, okay, when you up against the wall and you got people who are dependent on you, like, I'm responsible for people.
That's right. Yes.
When you got the people dependent, like, motherfucker got to do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you in that mindset, like, fight or flight, you're gonna figure it out, man. And I told my wife, I said, listen, you're gonna figure it out. It's like there's nothing that can hurt me today that hasn't been done to me before, because now I know how to take stuff. I know how to take the peaks and the valleys. I know how to bounce back, and I know now, because you learn yourself much better as you get older. And I learn now, like, you know what? If I'm up against the wall, I just gotta sit back and think about what's the next move.
You do, yeah.
Like now it's like I got a lot of shit going on. I got 12, one apartment building, 8 single family homes, about 14 doors, right? 4 dogs, 2 cats, 3 kids, 1 wife, 3 girlfriends. I mean, I'm just talking about that.
Do it to it.
I'm just talking about the. I'm just bullshitting.
Don't get in trouble.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is like, I still think that's not enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, my wife now is a retirement planner. She's a licensed retirement planner. So now we're looking at things like, because if you think about it, man, we got more years behind us than we do in front of us.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, 30 more years, that we maxing out at 30 more years if we can put another 30 years in.
Right.
You know, so for me, it's like now I'm looking at the second phase of my life. Like, what's more important to me now is that I leave a positive impact on people, you know, that's watching me. Because one thing I don't do, man, I don't preach to people. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, I don't talk about politics. You know, I don't talk about sexual orientation. I don't talk about race. My grandma always said, if you can't say nothing nice, don't say nothing at all. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And for me, like that bodybuilding journey, man, I was like, there's a couple of reasons why I did that journey, but I'm gonna just give you the clean version of it. I was ashamed of myself when I pulled my clothes off. And I always pride myself in being, you know, like I can handle my shit with my clothes off. And when I started realizing, like, damn, I look bad. You know what I'm saying? And I said, and I'm always an extreme dude. Like when I do something, I go all the way. So when I got my first Dodge Challenger, I got the SRT. I didn't get no fucking 5.7 and put back patches on it saying it's SRT. I had to go for the real shit, right? So when I told my guy, I said, man, I want to compete. He was like, I hear this shit all the time. It was like, yeah, the first 2 weeks people are in it, and then after they realize they gotta eat the same shit every day, 6 days a week, if not 7 days a week, do the same workouts, get up the same time in the morning, and with all this shit I got going on, I gotta clean up dog shit before I leave the house.
Yep.
Right. And I told him, I ain't giving no coach no $300 a month, and I ain't gonna utilize his ass.
You got
Dude. And from that point, I was like, when I say I'm gonna get in shape, most people get in shape, Joe, most people get in shape to get more healthy. You know, let me lower my cholesterol. You know, let me lower my risk in diabetes, because some of those diabetes traits are like can be put in recession. I said, no, I'm getting in shape to get on stage. And that's extreme. And I must have prepped, man, for like 8 months, man. I'm showing people online the meals I'm eating. I'm showing the workout. I mean, your beeper's going off. Showing the workout. That's a Motorola.
I don't know what that is, man. I thought I turned my phone on silent.
Hey, Gerald, what age did the switch click for you on what you're talking about right now?
40.
Oh God, it was 40 something.
48.
Oh
no, I take it back. Okay, me and Stephanie started dating in 2017.
Okay, and
she was a personal trainer too. And I was like, she can't be the only sexy motherfucker in this relationship. I'm like, I'm so used to being like the guy, right? Yeah. And so I said, you know what? Let me get my shit together, because I can't be all fucked up looking and she come and look like a dime piece. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay. So I dropped a lot of weight, but I wasn't toned. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I started 2017, but I started getting ready for competition during COVID. And because I had a lot of time on my hands when I wasn't in the field. So I started getting dialed in with the food and the prepping and using the hell out of the air fryers and shit, man. And I remember, man, when I first started seeing my abs, I'm like, I said, I look so good. I fuck myself, man. I'm like, shit. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, because, we have them. It's just they hidden, right?
Yeah.
And I realized, man, I can take this shit. So I started chiseling away. The only thing I hate about me prepping for a show, man, I had to send my coach half-naked photos of me every week, like front and back, and set aside with my drawers on. I was like, I'm not used to sending a dude pictures naked. A female, give it to you in 2 hands, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not used to that shit, man. And that was uncomfortable as hell. But I did it. And man, the first show, man, my guy, Jabbar, shout out to him. He I think I outdid some of his teammates who'd been on his team for about a year or two. I went in there and fucked it up, you know, in a 8-month period because everybody was doubting me. I doubted myself sometimes because consistency, bro, and discipline. And remember, he gonna get my $300. He gonna send me that fucking request first every month because he got bills too. But discipline, man, is when nobody's watching.
Yeah.
Nobody's watching.
Yeah.
Man, after that first show, I walked away with medals and shit, man. I was like, this shit is addictive. And did another one. And that right there, man, that whole bodybuilding shit, man, is they need to tap on like the real psychological effects because I'm so used to being chiseled. I'm so used to having something to do.
Right.
Like, and then because see, you prep for like 6 months, 8 months, depending on where you are, 4 months, and then you're only on stage for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then after that, man, after you win, like, what's next? Now you feel like, damn, there's nothing else to do. And you get depressed. Motherfucker go in depression with that shit. That's why you got guys who are still bodybuilding at an older age because it's like it mentally challenged them, but it also gives them purpose, it gives them structure. Because for me, growing up in the South and the type of person I was, I need structure. Like,
would you consider yourself an extremist?
That's a yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to say something. I want to ask you a question because you said you bring it back to the South, and you talk about growing up in the South. I mean, you done covered so many things. I had to write down some questions, bro, because you was getting in, and you really got me intrigued. Really, you got me intrigued. But because you was just, giving it up, man. That was raw. So, but I wanted to ask a couple questions, starting with you talk about growing up in the South. It was rough, it was tough, man. You had your mom, y'all was on your brother, and at what point did you start to take interest in the dogs? Did you see dogs down there in the Mississippi and stuff growing up? What kind of dogs was it? This was in the 70s.
Well, the first dog.
Or when was you born?
71.
71. So you was growing up in the 70s.
Yep. The first dog I had is when I was 5 years old, maybe 6. Well, of course, when you're that young, is it really your dog? I mean, you're playing with him,
right?
But you ain't taking care of him, right? He's just a part of the family. He's a person that can't talk to you in English. You know what I'm saying? But my first taste of my own dog, well, I would say quasi-owned dog because I would go over to my aunt's house to see her, was a white German Shepherd. That back in the late 70s, that was exotic to have an all-white Shepherd.
Right.
And her name was Snowball. She had a red nose and shit. And I just, now that we know dogs, we know that the white dogs, that's recessive. You're going to have issues. But I didn't know that then. But my
didn't matter, did it?
No. But my real first dog that I had of my own in Mississippi was a black Labrador mix. And
okay.
I'm a country white. I'm a country. I was a country white.
Yeah.
All the country white guys had labs. They all of them had those water dogs that love playing in the lake and pond.
Yeah, my cousins and them down south, they had dog too. They had some form of a lab cross, mixed up dog. You know what I'm saying?
So everybody had, all the white guys had labs. And they all named Duke and shit. And
what was they doing with them?
Fetching, throwing shit in the water, catching ducks and shit. All that.
Duck it, yeah. Because see, my people's back in the day, what they did with the dogs, they hunt at night. And that was just like the thing to do in the South, coming up out the South. But that was a different era. That's a little bit back in the days when it wasn't even TVs.
Yeah.
Y'all had TVs, right?
We had black and white. I was the remote control.
Get up and turn the channel, Gerald. Get up and turn that channel.
Right.
Turn it to channel 3. Oh, it's 11:30. Okay, like that.
Yeah, this is back in the day when at 1 o'clock after Johnny Carson, the TV just goes like dun 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 dun, and then it should go off, right?
Yeah.
You get that
Right.
yellow symbol. But no, man. It was first reality was having that black lab, and I remember, one thing about and I've talked about this on one of my episodes on my dog page. That there's only a few dogs out there that are genetically designed and predisposed anatomically to swim. People think that all dogs know how to swim. That is not true. Those labs and those golden retrievers, it's like natural because they have the web paws, man. And it's like they know what to do. So I love animals that jumped in the lake and shit like that. I throwing barks and tree branches in the water. They go out there and retrieve that shit and bring it back, man. That was cool.
Right.
I didn't grow up with Rottweilers and Dobermans, and by that time, Dobermans had a show called the Doberman Gang, and all they were doing was robbing banks and shit. So
hey, so you remember? Did you like it? That
oh
show?
yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that show. But but when you break it down,
was that your first exposure to the Doberman?
To that dog, yes. But my first exposure was when I was out here in LA. Well, take it back. My father's kids had Dobermans, right? And I always wanted a Doberman. I always thought it would be ideal for me because I was living in a condo at that time. I wanted something that had a little bit size, but I didn't want to have one that shed so much hair.
Right.
Very ideal. And when I saw theirs, I started doing my own research, and that's how I found this company with this kennel called Kimbertal, which is out in Pennsylvania.
I'm hip to Kimbertal. My cousin had a Kimbertal. My big bruh, one of my OGs, he had a Kimbertal, and he had the dog, man. He was like, oh, so proud of it. They had a couple.
Actually, Kimbertal, Bob, the founder of Kimbertal, they used to breed wolves as well, and they had Rottweilers too.
Yeah, they said he got a bunch of land out there, man. Dogs running wild, running, going.
Yeah,
he said that they got a system though. I did some research. I started looking into the King Doberman bloodline, right? Because that's they claim to the fame because they got the King Dobermans, which is supposed to be an extra larger size Doberman. It's controversial that it even exists at all.
Yeah,
because it's larger size. They say in this mixed cross with that. Some people say I don't know. This is just what I had read. Yeah. And says no such thing as a King Doberman. We like it bigger, better. And so they done added what they felt was necessary to increase the size of the dogs. And so I did my homework, did my research. And I found what's interesting, though, how they had the dogs in that the guardian foster. They was working with different people in the community. And, I think they in Pennsylvania, too, right? Or something like that, New York. Yeah. Yeah, and they was working with people in the community, have them raising their dogs. And then
so what that's called is the breeders program. So what they do is they'll let you have a female. When that female comes in heat after her second heat, you got to bring that bitch back, and they breed to them, and then they keep all the puppies, and they give you the female back for free. But you have to be in that certain area. You couldn't be like in LA, and you got to be in driving distance to be a part of that breed. They had a system, man, that was like clockwork. Like they had a puppy guarantee system. So here's the system. System is like if you buy a dog from them, and for some reason in a year and a half you don't like the dog, you can return the dog, and they give another dog. So they ain't gonna never give you the money back, but you can get a replacement dog, and then another dog, and to me, I think that really what sold people, and the way they were selling, man, was so cool because they would put pictures on their website that saying premium Doberman and plus Doberman. That means that you get the premium or you can get the below premium, $2,500 and then $3,000, and they will only show pictures of the sire. And the sire was always an import dog,
a champion. Yeah, a big time champion.
Yeah, but he was a showline champion. Altobello, Dijon owns Altobello Dobermans, and he would sell them their dogs that were oversized because over there in Europe, a Doberman can't be over. There'd be a certain height to do a ZTP. If it's over that standard height, he's disqualified. But in America, we like the oversized shit.
Right, send it over here. We are taking it and get it off. I got you. I know what to do with that. I know what to do. You said what? They said it's too big. Send it over to America.
Too big. That's what women like. That size matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I noticed something too, man, that like being whatever generation you in is always a dog of the time. And back in the 80s, Doberman was big, just like it would be Arnold Schwarzenegger, Charles Bronson. Those were dog of the times. You know what I mean? I want to spin back on something too, though. We know you the dog father of the Doberman, and we about to get all the way into that. But I'm gonna take it back to the South. I know you said you had issues with your mother. She had some addiction problems, and you was talking about how grandma, which is most of our big mamas, how she was kind of brutal with that belt.
Belt shit. More than that, hose pipe.
The pipe. What did that do for your psyche, and how do you use that to? Did that play any role in who you are today? Because you seem very driven.
Right.
Well, I always said that there's two type of people in this world: those that make things happen and those that watch things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And considering the fact that I've never had nothing given to me and everything earned, I think when you guys start tapping into that 50 age mark, because you guys, how old are you now?
I'm pushing 50. I'm 40. I'll be 47 next year.
I'm 42. 42.
When you guys are hitting it now, where the things you thought you wasn't, it amplifies. Like I don't have a to-do list. I don't have things to do tomorrow, except the things that have to be done tomorrow, because it can't be done today. It has to be done on a Thursday, right? What you find yourself doing, you find yourself like being more anal about the things that you were always anal about. Like when I ask questions to like my wife or to coworkers or employees about has something been done, I already know the answer. I just want to let you know that I know that you know that I know that you ain't done it yet. And it's gotten worse. It's caused issues.
You say you how old, Drew?
53 in about 9 days.
Yeah. So you 52.
Yeah.
And I'm 42. And big bro, you 47. So you halfway in between us both. You 10 years. You got me by a decade and you halfway. So that's a game it's a lot. And I always like to talk with older people too, growing up, and that's just the way that I've been even around. And then I got people that's up under me is younger, like 10 years, some of my young partners, and I try to advise and counsel. So it's a way to pick up on some experience, because where you've been is where I've got to go.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate the chance to learn. I would have wanted to ask you, falling off, going bankrupt, bouncing back from all of that. It seems like you're the type of a guy that can achieve and sustain through anything. How did you do that? Were you in the dogs at that time when you had the dogs play a role? Because I had went through some things where I had lost it all one time, but everything but a couple dogs that I brought in, a couple puppies back.
Didn't that start at your divorce when you first shipped in your first?
So here's what happened. So, like I said, my ex-wife, Monique, is from Belize. And of course, Belize have wild ass dangos or dingo dogs running around. I'm like, how you don't like animals? So I never had an animal while she was living in my house. But as soon as she moved out,
you got one.
I got one. I got what I wanted. So our first Doberman was from a guy named Bickerstaff Doberman. Now, Percy Bickerstaff, brother, is Bernie Bickerstaff, who's the NBA coach.
Okay.
Bernie has a son who was the head coach of the Cavaliers this past year.
Hold on, let me say something real quick, because it's on my mind while it's fresh, because I don't want to forget before we go too far. Okay. Because you said something about your wife, and then she wouldn't let you have no dog, and you didn't want to have that wife no more. Y'all ended up splitting it up. So let me tell y'all something, fellas. This is what I did with my wife, and me and her been together since childhood. This is my first one person, right? And I told her, I rehearsed it with her. How many dogs could I have? Because my mama always told me, you can't have no more dogs here. You get them when you grown, they on your own.
Yeah.
So we was looking at a house, and I told her this the house that we gonna buy because this is how I can put dog in this room. I could put a dog in that room, and I could put a dog over here. And I was like, we rehearsed it until she would say it the right way. I said, how many dogs can I have? And then she say 2. And I said, no, that's not what you're supposed to say. You're supposed to say as many dogs as you want, Jordan. And then we just kept on going over that, you know what I'm saying? Like it was until we would get into it. Like we might as well get into it now because I'm gonna have as many dogs as I said as I want to have, because that's what my mama told me I could do when I got grown as a man and on my own and have my own house. I could have as many dogs as I wanted to. And so, fellas, if you're going to go through that and you got it made up in your mind, it's the first time you're gonna have a dog as a man on your own, and you're gonna move your lady in. You gotta have that understanding. That's what I want to say. Get that understood. Make it, however many dogs you plan on having, make it a point. Because it's gonna affect your relationship. And I'm sure that you couldn't be the man that you wanted to be happy without having, as soon as you got the divorce. And then for the ladies, let a man have a dog or two, because it's a healthy outlet.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we can be doing a whole lot of more bullshit out there.
Exactly. It's exactly. Let me have my dog go hang out with my dog. Right. And that probably would have been solve a whole lot of conflict and confusion in your relationship, I bet.
Yep.
If you would have been able to have that release.
That's true.
That's a big thing for me in all my relationships. The fact that I have these dogs is my mental status. You know what I mean? I'm going through some things right now because I lost one of my main dogs, and because I'm with the people I got around me, my verbal family is really picking me up and lifting me up. And that's what it's all about, man. For me, the mental health. I think that's a thing that we got to talk about more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And especially like the social aspect and component.
What's funny? What's funny though is like, what's not funny, but what's true is like, so I got the dog from Percy. The dog didn't work out, but I imported my first dog, Alonzo. Mm-hmm. And Alonzo was with me, like he helped keep the lights on. I'm talking about I was breeding that motherfucker at 10 months of age, getting stud fee, $500, $600. He was contributing to the household. Like it was me and him against the world, right? Mm-hmm. And he was such an excellent dog. I'm talking about, first of all, when I first got him in 2010, December 2010, he came in from Russia, and I took him to training with Lewis Williams at Black Mass. And when you're dealing with brothers in the hood, man, they always try to show your dog up. They're trying to run him off, all that shit, right? And I get a double negative because they think a beige brother ain't got no heart and shit, I'm on the west side of LA, them niggas on the east side of the 110, I'm like, nigga, I went to public school. Like, I'm not a private school nigga here. It's like this, we can do this, right? So they tried to run my boy Alonzo off when he was like 9 months old. It didn't work out well for them.
It was a dog.
Yeah. And it was like Alonzo did not get ran off at all. And we talking about a dog at 10 months of age at that point. And I tell the story because, you don't know what your dog's made of until he's under pressure. That boy took the pressure when we started doing the dumbbell work, the running the blinds, getting them ready for the IPO. He took that pressure because we had to get him dialed in 3 months. What would take 6 months, we got it done in 3. Mm-hmm. And I say this all the time, man. I said, I see a lot of white folks, and I correlate that because down the South, you was the black and white. We didn't have a lot of Mexicans. We didn't have a lot of Asians.
Right.
We didn't have that shit. It was the black and white. Right. Or you both. And a lot of black folks in my neighborhood, upper middle class neighborhood, they didn't have dogs, right? But the white folks had dogs. Mm-hmm. And one of my neighbors had giant standard poodles. I'm like, those are pretty. So I remember when these dogs used to die, I was like, why are these folks dying? I mean, crying over a fucking dog. It's like, it's a dog, right? And it didn't dawn on me why they were crying until I had to put Alonzo down after 10 years because he had kidney cancer. Mm. And I was like, damn, this is hurting because this motherfucker was like, he was my A1 from day one. Like he was with me through all of the bullshit.
That was which
dog? My red. Red Doberman.
The Doberman.
He was
Yeah,
with me.
man. We had to put my dog Bear down, the first dog that I ever had. My dad said he didn't even want a dog, and next thing I know, he was playing with this dog. He had to put the dog to sleep. We had to put him to sleep after for like 14, 15 years. I didn't go, but my brother said my father was like rough. I mean, he wasn't rough, but he was like tough. He wasn't no huggy type of guy. He ain't tell me he loved me and stuff, but I knew that he loved me. But that just wasn't what he would say. And man, he cried with the dog. I didn't even see him cry at my grandmother's funeral.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But my brother said that he cried about the dog. He even was popping tears out. I was like, damn.
Yeah, man. And when I had to put Alonzo down, because he could only live so much eating his low protein diet because of his kidney issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I had to put him down. I was like, damn, this dog was with me more than my own son. Like everything revolved around him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the dog that got me out of depression. He got me outside the house because I had to walk him or he gonna poop on the balcony.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He got me into meeting people. He made some excellent offsprings. I must have bred him like over 350 times. And people was loving what he produced, confident dogs. And he kept the lights on, man. Like literally, he helped keep the lights on him. I mean, when I got $500, I was like, shit. That's some good money for a guy who ain't got no money right now.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand it after I had to put him down. Like, man, this is really hurting because we talked about it before we went live. I said, man, dogs do something that no human can do. They stay consistent. I said, I can be gone 2 months, 2 years, 2 hours, 2 minutes, and that dog gonna run to that damn door as if I just left a minute ago.
Yeah, like you can leave 5 minutes and come right back, and they're gonna be like you just left 5 minutes.
Right.
Like you've been gone for a century. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like he ain't seen you in a million years. And that's the beauty. You know what it says though? What I've been doing my research, it says in it psychologically, it's like the dog when it looks you dead into the eyes. That's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Not a lot of animals do that.
Right.
And then I think they even talked about that in that the documentary, the Netflix documentary, where the dog can roll his eyelid back and look you in the eyes. It's almost like it's looking you into the soul. A book that I read said that book that I was reading said that it does release oxytocin or something like that. I think we release oxytocin when the dog looks at it, so pheromones or something.
Yeah.
But so that's raw, man. That's deep.
And so, man, he's the only animal out of all the dogs I've had since. He's the only animal that if I put a tattoo on my body, it's him. I mean, he literally changed my life to the point that I don't think I would have made it through the depression or the recession without him, because he was like, hey, motherfucker, I got to go outside.
Right.
I gotta go places. And from that point, I told people, I says 2 things I'm always going to have in my life, no matter if I'm married or not. I'm going to have a dog and I'm going to have a hybrid vehicle. Because with both of those, I ain't going wrong.
You gonna be able to get there, that's for sure. Huh? Even if you ain't got no you for a full tank, you can get there probably with that hybrid. Yeah, man, the dogs is picking me up. That's keeping me going, because guess what? I lost my dog, man, my main dog, man. We done did everything together. Went to show, slept in the truck. You know what I'm saying? Been my boy, right? But I still I want to lay down sometimes and don't even get up. But I got dogs to take care of. I got to see about my dogs. It's been times when I've been sick. I think that this makes me get better, because I had COVID one time, and I didn't think, you still feel like you're invincible. You right? But man, when I had COVID, it psychologically messed me up, because it was for the first time, like I was a little bit defeated by sickness. Like I'm like, man, I can run. I'm gonna still do everything I want to do. But that COVID had me like weak for weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shortness of breath. But I still had to take care of my dogs. I had to fight.
Yeah.
I still had to do what I had to do with my dogs. And I think that will to survive, right? Where you have hope, You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? They
man.
give you push you through another day.
When you got shit to take care of.
Yeah.
You know,
You gotta get your ass up. You know
You
what I
better
mean?
get up, right? Yeah. Or you're gonna be outside,
Yeah,
sick outside.
you know, they say it's best, man. It's in the Bible. It says we are the keepers of the beast.
Mhm.
We are responsible for all of the animals on this planet,
Mhm.
and air, land, and sea. We're responsible for them. Like not nobody else, not other gorillas, not other fucking goddamn polar bears. We're responsible for every living creature on this planet. We are the one that regulates, right? And so for me, it was like, you know, your best dog always die unexpectedly. Always. It's never like, oh, he's gonna be sick for a year. Hold on, get some puppies out of him, and you're never gonna get another one just like the one you had.
No.
It's always gonna be something that has good parts on this one, but he's lacking on this one. Or
Yeah, and that's
on that
what
one.
bro. I'm going through that because like my boy was raw, but I done had so many beautiful dogs. I done had so many special dogs. Like it's not fair for me to say. I know I'm never gonna have another great dog again. Like to tell talking to myself because I be feeling like, man, I'm ready to give up. I don't even want to do dogs no more. I feel like that sometimes, but then I know that I can't live without dogs. I won't be.
And what's crazy is to get a dog that can almost like step in and take that place. You're gonna have to go through a few dogs to see, you know.
I'm about to hold back probably 4, 5, 6 puppies or something crazy. Yeah. I'm gonna have a whole bunch of dogs. No, and I don't want to have a whole bunch of dogs. I'm just want to have a couple of dogs that I have to be. I just don't want to have. I gotta figure it out all over again, and it's fine. I done did this before. It's just you don't come across. It'll never be the same. I'm never gonna have the same. I had a dog named Bear. I had a dog named Pluto. I had so many dogs, man. You know what I'm saying? Jethro. I done had some dogs. Mo. You know what I'm saying? I done had some dogs, and then I done lost them dogs, and they'll never be the same dog. I have the same one again, but I still have us great dogs. I have many great dogs, and I love it.
The problem is, guess what? We can't just have 1 or 2 dogs. It gets addictive, man. I see how people can animal hoarders too. Like, dude, I had to shell back, man. I mean, I'm in the inner city of Los Angeles. I got 4 fucking dogs, man.
Yeah.
All males.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We got to talk about that, man.
I've seen hoarders too. I've seen with dogs all stacked up in garages and
man,
30 dogs outside,
and they'll make sure them dogs eat before they eat.
Yeah.
You know, and I get it.
But you have a unique setup too. You got 4 dogs, and you only stud. I think that's probably the first time I ever saw that.
Yeah, you know what? The interesting is that, okay, when I got into the Dobie game, I was getting a lot of backlash from a lot of breeders, non-African American breeders, I would say. And it was like, raise your price. Why are you doing all this breeding? I got a great fucking dog. I'm not gonna be that guy in the crab in the barrel syndrome with nobody gonna be able to play ball unless I got the basketball, unless I'm playing. Now I want everybody to enjoy this because I knew Alonzo and these puppies, these dogs they're not here for 20 years. These ain't no chihuahuas. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna live 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
what's the life expectancy on a Dobie right now?
Between 8. If you get 8 out of 1, 8. If you get 10, you're doing good. Okay. You're doing good. And, you know, getting Dobies like other large breed dogs, you're in the replacement business. As soon as the dog hit 5 years of age, I'm looking for one to replace him pretty soon.
Yeah.
You know, 3 years.
So you got 4 males. Now, how do they live? Independent, or is they that? Because that sounds like a recipe for disaster. So
that's some shit that Ben does now. So
Ben.
No, man. Okay, so my situation is different. Like when I used to have 2 male or 3 male dogs together, Alonzo, the red one, was the teaching of all the puppies. Like he'd teach the males, and he was very good with males.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like the dynamic's different because I do have a puppy now, Titus, and he gets along with the other 2 Dobie males, but ain't nobody getting along with Brutus. Ain't the Rottweiler. He ain't getting along with none of them.
Oh yeah, you got that Roddy.
Yeah, he ain't getting along with none of them, and I know that he could kill him. somebody would get fucked up. Like Rotties, you know, they got more power, the heads are bigger, and I didn't even put them in a situation. So my kennel was set up where I can have 3 outside, and the Roddy Brutus is an indoor dog, so he has his own crate inside. So this motherfucker come here and sleep 13 hours. He's under the AC, got the fan. He ain't trying to go outside, you know. But I can't, you know, listen, I can't put them all together in one. I'm not gonna feed them all together like Ben do. He got them dogs dialed in. I can't. It's impossible. You know, all dogs ain't gonna be able to do that unless you raising all of them together at the same time.
Yeah,
that's not happening with these boys. They'll fight over food that I have enough for all of them for, and they'll like I can't do it. So, you know, right now the puppy gets along with the other 3 male Dobies, and I want that to continue. But I always have these. They're called bark collars, not the collars. I put bark collars on. I put them motherfuckers on medium. Yep. So if they try to pop off with each other, they're gonna be shocking the shit out of themselves. And I got the ones that last 6 days without a recharge. Yeah. So that's how I'm controlling that.
So they primarily house side by side in the crates or kennels?
No, I have a kennels where I have an open runner.
Okay.
And then within that runner, I have a smaller runner. And within that smaller runner, I have 3 separate kennels with their own doors. The reason why I have that larger runner is because I used to have fake grass because you know we wanted a little bit of yard. Right. But the Rottweiler Brutus as a puppy was chewing the fucking grass up. So I was like, oh shit, gotta make concrete. So now I got concrete all back there. But it was supposed to be a smaller runner, but it came into a bigger runner. So yeah, that's how I control them. I never feed them together.
Yeah.
At all.
So you talk about that a little bit, like your routine. You got a big run, you got a medium-sized run, you let one dog out in the big run. How is that space utilized versus this medium space? And then you got the interior space where your kennels at. I can visualize it based on
so usually I'm never gonna have,
this is fenced in, right?
Yes.
2 fenced in areas, 3 fenced in areas.
Yeah. So I'm usually not having all 4 at the same time. Like case in point, Cisco, the one that's super ultra high energy. He just did a music video Monday with a rapper called Future. Yeah. Future. So he did a music video with Future. So my dogs are always being used for music videos or commercials or training for a protection show. So I'm never gonna have all 4 at once. In case I do, I'm gonna have to put one in the house and Brutus in the house. I'm gonna put Cisco out in the smaller runner, and I'll let Titus and Casanova, my older Dobie, be in the bigger runner.
Right.
They're usually doing something. Like I did a music video with, and I didn't even know this guy, man. I knew Lil Wayne, but I didn't know no Benny the Butcher. So if you Google it, Benny the Butcher and Lil Wayne music video, Casanova's in that one too. Okay. I get a lot of requests for shit like that. So they're never all 4 at home at one time. And then, you know, Brutus and Titus are the only ones that get along with the cats. We got 2 cats. And, you know, they cool with them, but Brutus remember when the black cat, Gigi, beat up on him. So he's a little bit scarred mentally behind that. So I was like, I can't let him play with the cat. He'll kill him.
Real quick, get into us. Tell us how you started with the one dog. Your first dog, was it a puppy or a dog? And then take us to the other 4.
So the puppy I got from Bickerstaff, that was a fucked up deal.
That was the first dog?
First Doberman, yeah.
First Doberman.
Yeah. And I remember I put the money down for him and when he was 3 weeks of age, and I didn't know the difference, man. Like, you know what? Now that I know, I ain't picking no dog out until he's 4, 6, 7.5 weeks old. Then I know who's got the character, right, that I want.
Yeah, they get you like
I bought him. That dog was nice and tall, but he had no prey drive. I got the red boy. He made that other dog look like shit in regards to workability. So I got rid of the first dog named Roos. And from that point, I bought a female. First time I bought a female from this breeder called Arizona Dobermans or something. And she was the only female left. I was like, why is this big female still left? She said, oh, we're going to use them as breeding. And I was noticing when I saw the photo, it was like she was off in the corner somewhere. I didn't think nothing of it, right? when I picked her up, I said, this dog is skittish. And I didn't know no better. Like, oh, we can train that shit out of her. So I had a trainer, man. He sandbagged me for 8 months, told me he can get the dog to be a normal dog. Man, once the dog is skittish, man, you ain't breaking that shit. That shit is going to resurface some kind of way. So I got rid of that one. So from that point on, I always had 2 Dobermans. And then when I got engaged and got with Stephanie, I said, man, I want a 3rd one. Because when I lost my best male, I never want to get caught up in that game where my best boy is dead. And I have an up-and-coming puppy. I want to have at least 2 horses running at all times.
You need to have two on deck at all times, at a minimum, mandatory minimum, 2 stud dogs that you got your main feature dog, and then you need some backup.
Right. So from that point, I always had 2 dogs on deck ready to go and 1 boy coming up. And the Rottweiler was by default because it was this lady from Simone from Akba Force. She's out in Russia. And I said I want to have a big nice. I didn't want that Timitar look shit, mushed up face. I like a real Rottie look. And I said, if I'm only going to get a Rottie from her if one of the parents are a level 3 protection title dog. So I got the 1 puppy from her, Brutus. The father's is an IGP 3. Now that's the highest you can get.
Right.
His name is Puma Wild Western, Puma Von Wild Western. And I was like, that's the only way I'm gonna get a Rottie, because I don't want no big, lazy, pretty dog. He's got to work. Yeah. So I call that dog my wife's dog. But
so bro, let me ask you though. Hold on. That's got me my inquisitivity peaked. I'm trying to figure out. You got 4 Dobermans and a Rottie.
3 Dobies and a Rottie.
Oh, you got 3 Dobies and a Rottie. Okay, so how does the role? What's the role of the Rottie? You just wanted another dog.
Well,
it was a super duper. It was a super duper. Yeah, it was a steal of a deal type of thing.
It was a hell of a
once in a lifetime. Yeah, once in a lifetime. You said IGP 3.
His daddy is a current IGP champion.
Yeah,
current.
So what is that? What is that? And you say, what is that for my people that don't know?
Okay, so back in the day, just 10 years ago, they called it Schützen.
Yeah. And
then after Schützen, they called it IPO.
Right. What's the IPO stand for?
International Police Officer Association or something, but it's a protection sport.
Right.
And now they changed the name again to call IGP.
Yeah.
And what's that recognized?
I don't know what the acronym for that is.
It changed so much.
Huh?
It done changed so much.
Yeah, it changed. So that's the new title now, and they've changed a few little rules and regulations in regards to they cut out some of the more challenging aspects now. They've taken those out. So
right,
the sport's changed. But yeah,
it's always interesting to me the way that these rules and standards and things evolve and change. In some places, in some things is acceptable, in other places, in other regards, is not. We need to be more open to evolving.
Yeah,
and switching it up because it just doesn't apply to modern society. The way that we test dogs 20 years ago or 60 years ago, and the dogs that they needed in 1977 is not the same dogs that we needed in it or 1930. You know what I'm saying? Every time period era has a different need, and there's too much for an average dog. You don't need all of that.
Well, you talking about the protection and searching?
He's saying that they tested was lighter. They then took a lot of
they took out a few rules, like I think they don't do the long down. I mean the send off where they send the dog off, like he runs straight to the opposite side of the field, and then while he's running, he's not after the decoy, but while he's running to the opposite end of the field, you have to down him or stop him from running.
Mm-hmm.
They took that out of there too. Can you imagine sending the dog to keep running in a different direction, not after anything, but just running to a different direction? And you have to stop him while he's running, and he has to stop. They took that part out. They took a lot of little things out too that made it a little bit more difficult. But the tracking aspect has always stayed the same, and that's a real good thing. So it was a good opportunity to grab a nice. I've always wanted a Rottie. I didn't want one with the tail taken off, and she delivered. And he's every bit of what a Rottie's supposed to be. Like This motherfucker will fire up when anybody come in the house, as he's supposed to, right? And he's good with people, but he ain't great with strangers. Like, you know, he won't trust anybody except the family members. And that's exactly what I wanted from him.
Right.
You know, just from him. I want him to be my wife's personal protector and watch the crib watch the crib from the inside while the Dobies watch the crib from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
right.
he's raw dog and every
Like
bit. And he's only 2. He still ain't mentally, you know, some male dogs, it take them about 3 years to mentally click like, okay, now I'm a grown dog. Ain't no games no more. It's like, I'm serious. And he's serious now. So I love that dog, man. I have, you know, I've had some good choices and I made some bad choices. And the ones that I made bad, I displaced those motherfuckers real quick.
Somebody said something about kennel tour. What do you feel about letting people come in your house and see your dogs and things like that?
I'm not a petting zoo. If somebody's trying to breed to my mail, I'll send you videos. All you got to do is hashtag Casanova the Russian Doberman, all in YouTube, all the videos you want. If you're in the area, I may let you come by and see him, meet you on the corner or whatever. But I ain't got a petting zoo. You ain't finna walk in my backyard through my garage and
you got to be careful.
I'm not doing all that.
Yeah.
You know, if you serious, listen, I'm an ex-cop. I know when somebody bullshit me who's a looky-loo. You know, you listen. One thing I learned about being a cop is that you got to be the nosiest motherfucker out there. You know, and everybody's suspect until proven different. And I'm not finna let people who text me only. You know, everybody want to have these full-blown conversations using their thumbs. Like, pick up the phone and talk to me. And as soon as I said, hey, listen, I'm not about to have this whole conversation via text. Call me. They said, well, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I don't get no call.
Yeah.
So no, I don't do that. We talking about breathing creatures here, and I'm not gonna have. That's like you trying to date this chick, right? You're trying to get to know her. You want to take her out. You want to kiss on her. You want to look. You want her to know all the good things about you, right? Yeah, you gotta put it on vibrate silent. Right. And you know, it's like the art of courtship has went like to hell. Brothers ain't trying to go, they're trying to go from first base to third. No courtship skills at all. So it's like, if you want to deal with me, we'll have 2 or 3 sentences via text. I got to hear your voice.
I'm gonna tell you something else too, Gerald. I see a lot on Facebook is these breeders who get frustrated and somebody might inquire about their dog. It don't go to the conversation. No, you know, it's a lot of window shoppers. They get on Facebook, don't waste my time, blah, 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 blah. But none of them really have any organization to their kennels. You can't find like a basic website or description of what's going on. And then here you go. If you call, I would not buy from a breeder who, after you call him, he'll get on Facebook. Don't waste my time, blah, 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 blah.
What's wrong with people? But no, you know what, though? We're not being patient. You know, we're not being cold-blooded. We ain't calculating. We're not thinking, okay, if all these people keep calling me, asking me the same questions, maybe it's because I need to put a notice out this information, and then people won't have to call and ask these same questions. I always have to be looking inside of the things that I can control, and I'll be very happy that people call. I'll be appreciative. I wish I could take every single person that called and respond. It's done. I pray for this, and it done became overwhelming. But at the same time, this is what we asked for, and this is part of it. And you got to be thinking about your people that you're serving as a dog.
I tell you a way that I get people. I can tell the real from the fake real fast. Send them the link to your application, to your puppy application.
Yeah.
That'll get them gone real fast, and you can tell who's serious.
Yeah. Well, you know what I find too, though? Some people just want to have conversation and get to know the breeder and ask you questions as you forthcoming with the information and so on and so forth.
after they
Like
put
that.
that petition. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what happens though? We get so many looky-loos asking stupid ass questions that they know the answer to.
Yeah.
And when you get these calls, you're very short with them because 7 times out of 10, they're just window shopping.
Yeah.
And I get people all the time saying, do your dog have AKC papers? Like, are you serious, dog? I said my shit is AKC registered. All these information is like I've put out thousands of puppies. You think people are breeding to me and they can't get paperwork on this? It's like, do you have any health tests? So I send them to the link, the OFA's website, give them the AKC number, look it up. And it's like, the problem is, man, is that there's no personal touch to these calls. The real people are going to pick up the phone and call you because they are inviting something that they're going to have to be responsible for the rest of that animal's life into their home. But these hit me up with messages and you're looking around and people hit me up from India and shit. Hey, come on, man.
Yeah.
But one day a pipeline might open. I don't look past it. I just try to make me sharper as a razor. And I take every call, I take every email, I try to respond to every comment, I try to respond to everything. And it might have me burnt out. You know what I'm saying? They have me burnt out. I can't respond to everything. You know what I'm saying? I'll be spending hours. I literally spend hours responding to questions, comments, emails, and stuff. You just have to do that. You gotta, because you're serving people.
Yeah, I do that.
And
I reply to all of it. It may not be within the first 24 hours because I'm getting so many. And because of the website is bringing in, my guy redid my website, so I'm getting at least 4 to 6 inquiries a day. And that's a whole separate email. That's not my number one. I have 12 email addresses. So I'm not reading that one on dog shit. I'm reading the one that makes me money, my real job, my job, my black job. You know what I'm saying?
The black job, that's right.
Black job, baby.
What is the black job? The one that pays.
Yeah, that's right. The one that Kamala's trying to apply for.
Yeah.
Black job, baby.
Yeah. So
we got a lot of questions on this thing coming in.
So I wanted to holler at you. I wanted you to speak on child support. I wanted you to talk about child support.
Oh my God.
Because that will cripple. That is like designed to.
It's designed for failure.
Isn't that changing though nowadays? I thought I heard something here where they looking at the mom's income now in my state.
Well, here's the deal. Here's what universally, this is what, okay, first of all, in California, up until 15 years ago, if you got so behind on child support, they consider that contempt at court. That means that you can be arrested. They used to put guys, non-violent offenders, in state prison for child support. They stopped that shit. It's like, yo, we putting them in with the fucking Night Stalker, and we can't do that to people because this is a non-violent crime. This is a civil crime, right? Contempt of court. So now with the child support in regards to what the requirements are, they're gonna go. They use a system called the decimeter, or the decimeter machine, and your woman has to type in her information, how much she makes, and you type in your information, how much you make, and it spits out who makes the most, who would pay based on who's going to get full physical custody, and you guys get joint custody, because full physical custody is different from joint physical custody. That means the child be with the mom 24/7. But
so that was before y'all had the dogs though.
Oh hell yeah! I mean, my listen, man. My child.
That was the ex-wife. That was the ex-wife.
I didn't even have no kids with her. No, these are women before her. Like my first child was conceived in 97 and born in 98. And that was weird, man, because in the Bay Area, you can put a case on a brother before the child's born. Like you can be pregnant by Muhammad Ali and they're gonna serve his ass. Like we don't care. And I was like, damn, I ain't dated this chick but like 35 days. I mean, I just like literally like I blew on her and she was like pregnant.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we came up with an agreement like 300. And I was like, okay, cool. That's gonna be a little tap because by that time I'm paying Bay Area rent, Bay Area car note, Bay Area gas, food. Shit is a lot more expensive in the Yay area than it is Mississippi.
Yeah.
And
Well, I wanted to make it a point, because you had mentioned it earlier, and I bring it up because, this is some of the things we breeders and a lot of us is, studs, and you're gonna be thinking about this before you mate with someone, right? We need to. I mean, let's talk about life. Let's bring it all, tie it all together. You're studying, you're selecting breeding prospects, potential mates. You have to consider these things because you definitely don't want to end up on child support.
right.
Child support will just disrupt your life. It will disrupt your life.
I think you pay more. I think you pay more off of child support. I really do. I mean,
I've been
in
broke
that,
for
in
over
that, in that
20 years.
family
I ain't never
atmosphere,
had no money. Yeah, man. Y'all
in that family
stay.
atmosphere, you're gonna wind up paying more. But I think the child support, I think that what really affects us, besides the money of child support, is the fact that some man is in somebody, sometimes it's some entity that's in between me and my child. And I've seen it affect men. And personally, I want to say this: out of all employees I've had, I don't had to garnish more women wages than men, way more women
For child support.
for child support. And also hiring people, you have young girls working for you and they ask you these questions, what about this? What about that? Shit, they'll ask their dad. I said, well, you don't ask your dad about that, honey. What does he think? Well, he's this and that, and blase. He don't really say much about what my decisions. And I've kind of figured out that child support builds a barrier in between the man and that child so much that when he's done with it, he kind of looks like he or she seems like a liability, like a car payment. That I'm done. That's over. I've seen that a lot, brother. I really,
my experience was it was a weird one, man, because when I got put on paper, I told the girl, I said, I don't want to deal with you, because this is like I met you in a club. I'm like, shit, and 3 months later, I'm getting paperwork from San Francisco County. Back then, the county was mandating the child support. Now it goes to the state. The money goes to the state, and the state disperses the money. And I was like, fuck it, man. Let me go ahead and get back with this chick and make it right, and then try to get this child support off my back and just take care of my child direct. You know what I'm saying? And when she opened that door and how her stomach like was a football turned sideways, like, damn, she's really pregnant. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like it started hitting me. And we dated for about a year and a half, and I'm still paying her child support like through the state, through the county. It was like I was still on paper after we got back together. And it was like, for me, man, it was like the child support system is rigged where they want a guy to fail. And I'm gonna say this right here. So you got things called arrears. That's interest.
Arrears, yeah.
That shit was told me up more than the child support, because if you're late, the interest is more penalized than goddamn unpaid taxes penalized, right? And the problem is like, if you get in California, if you get $3,000 behind, and that can be arrears or principal, they put a hold on your passport.
Yep.
And because that's what happened to me. I'm like, man, my son had been 20-something years old. I'm like, I already got my passport good for 10 years. I'm about to renew this shit. And I'm like, they say, you got a child support. It's like, I don't remember fucking around with nobody who got a baby by me. I'm like, I'm strapping it up. She said, no, this is for a kid named Grant. I said, my son. So because it was non-welfare, I was able to talk to the caseworker, and she talked on my behalf to the mom and said, hey, you can pay your $81 in arrears for the next 10 years, or we come up with a settlement agreement and just pay it all in one sum. And she agreed to take the lump sum payment versus we can play this out for $81. I ain't got no problem. Right.
Family, I'm gonna interrupt you real quick because I didn't want to get too far off subject. I did still wanted to touch on that because you had mentioned it. I feel like, we're talking about so many different things. I think the only way you could defeat child support is through the woman. That's the only one person I know that defeated child support. He had compromised with the female. But I wanted to get into some of these chat questions.
Hey, don't let the chat run it. When I put the disclaimer up, I put that disclaimer up. They better read that disclaimer. They don't control what we talk about.
Yeah, not at all.
If it triggers them, fuck them. Straight up. You know what I mean?
Questions up.
Yeah.
Put them up. Let's see.
Hold on, no. This one was very interesting to me though about the breed going extinct. Though I did want to get on.
Pop it up on the screen so everybody can see what they say. Pop it up, Joe.
Which one you talking about, Jordan?
He said, Jay Diaz says some people are saying the Doberman breed might go extinct if we don't get rid of some health problems.
Where's that one?
I did research it too, and I had, because I knew that you was coming on as a guest, and it was at 9:32. I just reposted the question. But
there you go, right there, exotic borable. Hold on.
What was you able to post it?
Yeah, I posted it.
Okay.
I don't see it.
He can't see it. He's watching mine. Tell it to him again, brother.
It's some people are saying the Doberman breed could go extinct because of the heart issues, and then if they're not addressing that, they could potentially breed themselves into a corner where all the Dobermans will die.
It's not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
Because you got breeders like me out there that are trying to breed out of those genetic mutated issues. It's not going to happen. That's like people talking about Frenchies are going to be extinct because
here it is.
Okay. Because of the breathing issues and all that. It's not going to happen. We're just going to have to breed to something better, genetically better, but it won't be extinct. This dog has been around for a couple of 100 years. It ain't going nowhere.
When was the Doberman accepted? Actually, when did it finally? I know Louis Doberman's life work was creating. He died creating the breed. Correct?
No, he actually, before he died, he had the breed created.
He had it locked in. Okay,
Yeah,
somebody else. I think. Well, maybe that was the Dogo guy. It was his
right
life's work. Yeah, because it was so many dogs. So he finally did end up with the set type.
Yeah, because Louis Frederick Doberman was a tax collector. And if you notice, if you watch some of these old shows, these 1600 shows, the guy would go around door to door and knock on your door and say, it's time to pay your taxes. So he was getting threatened with his life. And so he created the dog for a personal protection dog. He developed the dogs to have cropped ears. He had terriers and Rottweiler mixed in and a Greyhound mixed in and Shepherds. And he created that dog specifically as a personal protector.
Yeah. So, and what year was that?
Oh man, you're gonna have me sit up and lie. I don't remember, but 18. What is it?
It was in the 1800s, 19th century. Yeah. So
yeah.
But yeah. So that was, so you said 19th century, sometimes one time. And then it's been over 100 years now. And I know that there is some breed specific defects associated with, like the wobblers. Dobermans is known for that. I think the mange. I think it's a couple of different things. What are the illnesses associated with the breed?
Some of them are spontaneous mutated diseases, like DCM.
Spontaneous mutation. That is so. I'm so glad that you said that, because you can't test for that, right?
You can test for it, but it may not show up.
Exactly. It's unknown. It's a spontaneous. Oh my goodness, that was I'm so glad that you said that. Spontaneous mutation. I talk about this all the time. I'll be trying to really educate and inform people about the spontaneous mutation, because it's unknown.
Right.
Until it happens.
So Doberman, since they're part Greyhound, of course, dogs need to have a strong heart because of running. If you ever saw a Doberman, he usually don't walk nowhere. He runs.
Yeah, he
runs.
He got a beautiful stride. Beautiful stride.
And DCM, I think it stands for degenerative cardiomyopathy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and then you got DM called degenerative myopathy, which is the hardening of the arteries. But it all has to deal with the heart issues.
Right.
And then you have
it's like doesn't get enough blood.
Right. And then you have those things called VWD, von Willebrand.
Yeah.
If you Google VWD for dogs, so Dobermans, you got three different kinds, and these are not spontaneous. These are going to be what they are. If a dog is tested clear for VWD, he's going to stay clear. If a dog tests as a carrier, that means he has a trait. He's going to stay a carrier. That means he can put out that genetic code to his offsprings.
Mm-hmm.
If a dog is affected, that means he has the genetic disease, but he also is suffering from that disease, and it may turn terminal at some point. People don't breed to affected dogs. It's hard to find one that's affected because we as Americans have done a better job than the Europeans prior to them doing it of breeding away from that. Now, the most you're going to see is probably carriers. That means that if you have a dog that's a carrier of DCM and DM, then you want to breed to a dog that's not a carrier. But again, these diseases are spontaneous. That means you can have clear parents right now, and them motherfuckers will put out clear puppies, and in 4 or 5 years, dog is a carrier.
The concern was that so many percentage of the breed, it was 70% up to was potential carriers. So how do you breed affect the carrier? Eventually you're going to have carriers, all going to be carriers.
You're going to have carriers. That's a guarantee, but you want to make sure you have. Okay, so when you have a carrier and you I get the test done with I used to get it done with VetGen. VetGen went out of business.
Yeah.
And now I deal with Embark.
Yeah.
Okay. And Embark tests for everything under the sun when it comes to a specific breed. When you test, it's going to tell you how many copies. Like if you got 3 copies of DC, motherfucker, don't breed that dog. If you got one copy showing up, okay, breed out of that. Breed out of that. Breed to a clear. But they're going to tell you how many copies the dog has. The more the copies, the worse or the most likely you should not be breeding to the dog, because if you're breeding to a dog that has 3 copies, then the puppy's probably going to have a copy or 2.
Yeah.
How many copies does it take to become affected? That's one question. And then I got another question is, can you breed a dog that is affected and then produce dogs? Carriers. Can carriers produce non-carriers? Can you reverse that?
Now you can listen. I have had a carrier dog and I bred to dogs who are non-carriers. Yeah. But the likelihood of you breeding to an affected dog to a carrier dog and you try to get clears, the percents are low.
0, next to none. Well, I'm saying a carrier to a non-carrier.
Then you're gonna probably get a 50% chance that
of producing some clears.
Correct. It's a percentage game all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's in theory, because it could be sometimes nature is not exact.
That's why these people, they get this thing called a Hollister done, where the dog got to walk around with this thing around their neck for like 2 or 3 days to see if they have irregular heartbeats, because that's what's one of the determining factors. If your dog is DCM affected or is suffering from anything from degenerative cardiomyopathy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me get some of these questions if you don't mind, Gerald. Complex. Oh wow. Oh wow. I gotta watch some of these damn questions. They bringing up some breeders' name.
Put them up there.
Okay, Gerald. Since you only take dogs from title parents, do you feel like the Doberman breed has been watered down, or is that mainly the American Doberman?
Well, put that question back up. I want to read it. So I think that the purpose of getting a Doberman has went away. Dobermans were supposed to be personal protectors. People are not 85. Like I told the last guy we had on the show, 85 to 90% of the people who get dogs from me are not wanting the dog to work for personal protection or a sport. they want the aesthetics. They want it what it looks like.
Right.
They don't want it. They don't want to test drive that motherfucker. They want it in their garage, like my Grand National. I don't listen. I want to drive that son of a bitch, but a lot of people will get these cars and put them up for 10, 15 years. Don't put no miles on them. No, I want to drive. And when it comes to the American Doberman used to be some hard, tough shit. I mean, the Doberman show that we talked about in the 70s, those were American dogs. You can tell because they all looked like black deers. They had the narrow look, and they were hard. But yeah, the dogs are being watered down there. To find a good working bloodline Doberman, good fucking luck. You better get up from a breeder that has 2 working parents.
While we on the subject of that subject, where did the miniature pinscher come from? Is that a what is that?
Hold on a minute. You can take that question down.
Is that a version of the original? Which one came first?
The chicken or the egg, man? I don't even know, man. I mean, I can lie and it sounds good, but I don't know. But I'm not putting that shit in my count. And I don't know. I don't know too many people who have those nowadays too. But I heard the Min Pins are really tough dogs, and little dogs when they're little.
No, they got a lot of heart, and they got the same aesthetic value. I'm just thinking of solutions possible if you're breeding into a corner.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. People may or may not know this. You guys know this, but the masses don't. If you want some real working shit, they're not going to be pretty aesthetic wise. They're going to be the grimiest, ugliest looking one, but they're going to have the heart of a lion.
Yeah.
People don't want that when they're looking for a specific breed. They want something aesthetically beautiful. That's why a lot of these Rotties, all big and beautiful, and them motherfuckers don't have no ball drive, no food drive, but they beautiful.
And that was the kind of criticism that I always had of my premium stud dog that I had. But and it's kind of I'm sorry about this. I'm still going through it. But I had criticism. He's big, he's beautiful, but I wanted to be honest about his the drawbacks. He didn't have that endurance. He wasn't no long distance runner. You know what I'm saying? He even let dogs, and this was like embarrassing to me. He used to let dogs mount him up. You know what I'm saying? And he tolerated that. So I could, but I want to say this too. He didn't live at my house. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't like, he was a part of my program. He was still my dog, but he didn't live at I produced him. He didn't live at my house though. And I just don't feel like, it's just crazy to me. You got to have some standard. A dog got to have some toughness. But at the same time, though, that was a blessing because I was able to take the dog all of these different places, and he wasn't a problem. He wasn't a threat. So it kind of like, you give and take. That's the style of a dog that's gonna win shows, though. They gonna win shows. That pretty stuff is gonna win shows. And I'm talking about, man, I could pop out. We got open up at the gas station, and people gonna pull over. They're gonna stop and say, "Hey, what's up?" I mean, he was like that kind of dog. You know what I mean? Like
my neighbor in Inglewood, when I lived in Inglewood, my neighbor in Inglewood had a South African Boerboel Mastiff named Chopper. Mm-hmm. And when I tell you that this dog was huge as shit, I mean, Chopper had the height. A lot of Boerboels I've seen, they have the size, but the height's not there. Mm-hmm. Chopper was at least 31 inches to the wither, and his head was the size of. His head was bigger than a basketball. Mm-hmm. And he got that dog, he imported that dog specifically from South Africa. I mean, he was a hell of a dog. And like one time Chopper got out of that backyard, and I knew Chopper, so he wasn't fucking with me because I ain't never did shit wrong to him. But it was like partner Red Sea when that motherfucker got out. Everybody was like this big ass lion looking dog started running down the street. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, it's the Boerboel Mastiffs, man, especially the ones from South Africa, the one I've seen. Yeah, they were real deal, man. Yeah, real.
Yeah. It is tough with them. It's tough, man. I like the dog that can move though for days and just don't get tired and he can just go. That's my ideal specimen. One that I can just put out there and he just push it, push it, push it. And now that I gotta know when to draw him back because he'll run into this head is blow up or something. You know what I'm saying? And that's the dog that I love. But that's the dog, like you said, man, 90% of people can't handle that. 90% of people don't want that. I'm talking about chewing up if you lock him up for too long, he chewing up stuff. You know what I'm saying?
He's chewing to get the fuck out of there.
He destructing stuff. Yeah, he destructing.
Yeah.
Ain't no crates can hold him. Ain't no crates can hold him.
No.
You know what I mean? Lock him. That's my kind of dog, but that's too much for most people. So you got to have that perfect balance. You struggle with that between the bigger dog, the more, you know what I'm saying? But it's a good place to be.
Complex persona. Salute. Let's talk about the trash Rottweiler kennel, Proctor House. Rottweilers worse than Butler kennel.
Oh! Hey man, I'm too new in the Roddy game to talk shit about anybody's shit, right? The Dobermans, I listen, I could pull out and play with it. But Roddy's, man, Butler's kennel, I've talked to the guy before. He's got that same Kimbertall thing going where he's got 30 bitches going, 10 males. He's always got a waiting list. You can't buy a puppy because they're all sold out. And his dogs run behind him on a 4Runner. So I don't know, man, but I don't want to get a dog from where everybody's getting a dog from. I don't want to be like everybody.
Butler's, I kind of am torn. I just feel like he must be working really hard to keep up with all them dogs. He gotta love them. He gotta love them to have that many dogs. That, like, you see how he just done built and built and built, and you see from where he started to where he's at. I got a lot of respect for that. That shows me
that's
growth.
A lot of work. Don't get it.
A lot of work.
His morning starts with dogs and end with dogs.
Yeah, it got to. And then you don't see a whole staff of people working for him.
I see his 2 boys and they're babies.
Yeah.
That's it. So, but it's paying off. He quick to show you his classic cars in that goddamn warehouse, right? But you play hard, you play hard. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know Butler's bloodline on his dogs, where his foundation started as far as where he get his dogs from. I just know that, there's a couple of breeders out there. You can breed for the money, or you can breed for the love of the breed, or you can say you're doing both. But I would tell you this: if you notice all of the real breeders who have quality shit, they're probably having a litter 3 times a year max.
Yeah,
and they have a list. It's almost like that soul food shack. It's like, ain't nowhere to sit down in that motherfucker. Ain't no AC in there, but the lines outside the door, and they closing the doors at 4 p.m. Ain't no breakfast. You got a short window to come get your ribs and shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know that the shit's gonna be good when you get your plate.
Mm-hmm.
So the real breeders, it ain't the money for them. It's like they have litters like 3 times a year, maybe 4. And when they do, they're all spoken for because they breeding for specific quality first. Because they can have 6, 8, 9 bitches if they wanted to. But they breeding for quality. And those are the ones that I've always been drawn to, are the smaller mom and pops. Because I know that it's almost like soul food made by blacks is different from soul food made by Hispanics. Soul food by blacks, we putting our soul in this shit. We sampling every goddamn thing we cook. Okay, let me see how that shit tastes. Let me see how that cornbread shit tastes. Let me see how them greens and them ham hocks taste, right? But the Mexicans, if they're cooking soul food, they just putting everything in a big ass pot, other shit in the big ass pot. They're not eating that shit, man. That ain't their thing. That's our thing, right? They working. And so when you're dealing with smaller breeders, it's all about the quality. That's how I look at it, versus quantity. Because when you're doing too much quantity, how you gonna keep it with quality? How you gonna get to know your dogs? You're breeding 30, 40 bitches at a time.
That's right. How you gonna get to know your dogs? You want to have develop that relationship. See, that's why I be wanting to think that how we measure wealth need to be different, interpreted differently, because if you start to think about 99, a lot of us ain't gonna never be like the 1% of the world, right? The top wealthiest of the world. It's only gonna be 1% of us, 1% people of that. So the rest of us, that's with monetary value, that's with your actual moolah, that's with the actual cheese. But when you start talking about things that have value, you could value peace, and you could value that relationship that you have with your dog. That could be priceless. And I think if you start to look at those little things in life, you could get way more value instead of feeling like what you don't have.
Well, I noticed something too, though, guys. A lot of us breeders, especially in the U.S., we wouldn't be where we are without the guys who have worked these lines for 30 years and got 20 or 30 dogs. You know what I'm saying? They really know the lines. They really know the history of the dogs. They know stuff not to put together. They know stuff to stay away from. So some of it, you got to have that guy that's in the lab.
But here's the deal. The guy that's in the lab like that, he answers his phone calls. He takes messages, and he's transparent.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to imagine that, though. You know, to really get to know 30 at one time, you can't. I can't see that.
I'm not going to get that up close personal relationship.
Yeah,
like that. But traits pass.
Oh yeah, traits. Yeah,
you know.
But how do you really measure the traits though if it's not in the situation?
I'm gonna tell you how you do it. So he may have 30 bitches, and he probably don't have no bond with none of them. Maybe one or two bitches out of 30. He's not bonded with none of them. But what he does, he has a certain amount of studs that he knows their temperament. So he sells the puppies based off of what the stud temperament is, because you really don't know the mama. You don't know that well. You don't know what switches are on.
But don't you think? I mean, don't it make more sense to have the mama as a higher influence on the individual puppy? I like that. I feel like that's key for me. My bitches is everything, and I want to make sure. Yeah, I mean, before they get to having puppies and stuff, I want to walk them and get a very good intimate. I mean, because I done had a bitch attack me before that I didn't really after she had the puppies, because I have people bringing in their dogs and then I whelp the puppies, kind of something similar to what they do at Kimbertal, some my outside co-owners and stuff. And one time I went into the whelping box and the bitch had just had the puppies, and I said, let me just put my boots on because I'll be out here barefoot. I went in the box with my boots on, and man, the bitch come at me and took a plug out of the Timberland boot, the rubber gum sole. It took a plug out of there, and I was just like, damn, good thing I put my boots on. I put my boot on to block the bitch from coming here, hit my leg or something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it hit her in the mouth. She caught it in the bit it. You know, they beat her mouth and the boot met. Good thing about it. But I always make it a point to be intimate with my bitch so we can, I don't want to have that type of thing. I'm gonna be in there with you and letting these puppies. I'm gonna be in there with your puppies.
You gotta have a bond. You gotta have a
bond.
And that's for me too. Like all my dogs, before they go off the board and train, they got to know who daddy is. They got to know with me, it's all about play. When it's with the trainer, it's all about prey. With me, it's gonna be playtime. They know they hate going to my trainers because they know ain't no fucking bond in here, ain't no games. We trying to make you the toughest dog. But when it's me, the motherfuckers know who I am when they smell me. They're like, okay, yeah. Everything else is bullshit. We love daddy. And if you don't have a bond with your dog, you as a dog owner would know, like, I ain't got a bond. Mm-hmm. They're not fighting over me. They go in a different direction. They barking at me. Not barking because they're happy, barking like, who the fuck are you? So you can't bond with 30 fucking dogs. The only guy I know that's doing this shit is Ben, and all those dogs are raised in one house. Like, he don't have, if you notice, they don't have them in runners and kennels and crates. Them motherfuckers are living in his house, like in his crib.
Yeah.
They're not like boxed up like my dogs.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I feel like when you have the dogs and let's say like Cesar Milan, he takes all of his dogs and he moves them around, right? And he have separated by energy. I read some of his books. He talks about the Rottweiler. He got certain Rottweiler, and the Rottweilers hang with Rottweilers and stuff. And I think that that's a key to the success of what you talk about with Country Mountain. The fact that he's moving, those dogs are on a lot of land. If you ever notice that they're very quiet, I see him moving around. He says you can't walk a dog, you got to run it. You can't outwalk a dog. So that tells me that he's migrating the pack, you know what I'm saying, over a given distance in the territory. And what that does is it miles down the energy and makes them manageable. And that you notice that his dogs don't make a whole lot of noise and stuff.
You don't even know they're in the room, Duke, until you say, "What's he at?" And then they all get cranked up. They know what the cues are.
Right. Right.
Yeah, be the loudest, yeah.
He can be eating his pizza, all that shit. And them dogs sitting in the back on the couch chilling. Man, if I had pizza, man, my dog would want to eat my fucking plate.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not listening to that shit. They're like, no, daddy, you ain't gonna beat me, so you're gonna beat me up, daddy. I want some of that pizza. You eating it, I want to eat it, right? But him, he had pizza and chicken wings. I guess it was his cheat meal day. And them dogs did not get off that couch. They get off their bed. It was like, damn, this motherfucker he is one with those dogs. Like one.
Yeah. I think it's
throw something though. When he throws something, those suckers say,
yeah.
And they're not fighting each other over food either.
No.
And the older dogs let the puppies eat.
Mm-hmm.
He could put out all that raw chicken, and he tells them, "Hey, what's that? He got Marvel comic names,
right? Apollo,
yeah, Apollo,
yeah.
Thanos, come here, Gamora, come here,
yeah.
Right? And it's like his words. That's when you know you got control, when they listen to you.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna crank out some more of these questions for you because you got a lot of them, brother. Was it hard marketing your first stud? If so, what is some advice before you start? Let's get the likes up, y'all. And hey, Griselda, how are you doing?
Was it hard marketing your first stud? If so, what was some advice? Okay, really good question. Mm-hmm. First of all, when you're trying to market your stud, you need to start promoting your stud as soon as he was a puppy. Let people follow his progression as a young dog, his attitude, his progression, his development, what he looks like from a puppy, his attitude, his temperament, what he is as a grown dog. That way, he just won't pop up on the scene. Oh, grown dog. No, you have to market like now. So when somebody look back at a year later, say, oh, look, what did he look like as a puppy? What was his temperament like? What was his prey drive like? So you got to do that. You got to give good videos, great photos. Don't stand on top of his head, pointing pictures down. You got to get eye level. You got to show all of the best attributes of this dog, whether it's his gait, whether his top line or bottom line, his head, his bite work. Make those. It's almost like these females, man, on Instagram, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the best angles, bro. They're only their best angles.
Yeah. Right. And I feel like show the flaws too. Don't, if your dog have nobody's dog is perfect. So it's a good way to be open and transparent with your peoples too. I feel like people, this is always a telltale warning sign for me and y'all. Pay attention to this. When a breeder only want to show you that the dog is perfect and they trying to they acting like they never had a dog that passed away, the only dog. And then when they do take a picture, be like, oh yeah, I couldn't even get a good picture, but they took time to post. You know how many pictures you got to take to get a good picture? So they
about 100,
right? Every picture is perfect. We can't get many videos. We not getting no real views and stuff. It's like you want us to believe something that's false, that the dog is perfect, that you don't have nothing but perfect dogs. And that is a sign of deception. And that's a sign that it is your integrity is lacking in your moral compass, because you want people to believe that you is something that that's faking.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but when you're trying to, I do the imperfections as a puppy, right? Because everything is a learned behavior. Everything's a learning process. But when it comes to a grown dog, if there's some serious imperfections, he won't be a stud dog for me. Like if he ain't got no prey drive, I'm not keeping him. If he doesn't have good bite work, good intelligence, I'm not gonna keep him. If he's scared, I'm not keeping him. So you won't see that motherfucker around me after a year, right? But if he's showing me all the good stuff, then you can be organic with your photos and videos because people have seen the best of them. They just see all of them unedited, raw, and uncut, right? But
most people won't recognize them anyway,
right.
unless it's other breeders, you know what I mean?
Right. Shitty photos, shitty videos are given, but they've seen so many other great ones.
Right.
So who
and seen him at his best too. Yeah. I feel like it's just like a sports card or athlete. None of them got a 100s in every category. It's gonna be speed. It's gonna be someone's strength. Some of them might be a 225, 50 time pressing it on the bench. And you can't expect him to run a 4.40 or something.
Oh damn, 225. Damn, I ain't did that shit in a while.
Yeah.
Woo!
It's something that I don't think you need to lift that much, big bro.
No, not at my age. No. Somebody gave $5.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Ain't no nation like a donation. Butler is in. There's a lot of chat on him on this chat. We need to. Butler, do I need to have Butler on? What's going on here?
Yeah, you may have to put him on.
I think that would be a good guess.
Butler, holler at me.
I would like to see.
I hear a lot of chat.
I don't understand. Yeah, I guess this is some of the arguments against Butler.
Here's the thing:
the fact that he says he health tested and doesn't show, and his dogs would DQ in the show.
Read it again, damn, I'm calling you Butler, brother. Read it again, Jordan. I'm sorry.
It says, I don't respect Butler because he's dishonest and says he health tests and doesn't show. All of his dogs would DQ in the show ring and can't get working titles.
Complex person, are you a breeder? And if so, what dog?
Here's the thing I would say about that. In the beginning, I told you guys when I do the health test, I pay that extra $5 or $7.50 to put that shit on OFA. Everything. So you ain't got to ask me about the health test. Here's his AKC number. Fuck with it. Go play with it. But when it comes to that many dogs, I mean, are you getting all of their hips examined, the elbows checked? I mean, it's a lot of work, man. You're only one person. So I don't know if he's checking everybody's hips and checking everybody's elbows and testing for all those genetic issues that Rotties have. But when you got 34 of those 30, 40 of them, I don't know if you'll spend almost the whole damn week just doing that shit.
Yeah. I think anytime you start arriving in 10, 20 plus dogs, you're going to have people that's just turned off by the sheer volume of dogs. They're going to automatically assume puppy mill, despite what you could be trying to scientifically create or what your lines that you're trying to preserve. Some people it's just going to be like, there's no reason for you to have that many dogs and mass produce puppies and puppies and puppies, right? I mean, like you said, 3-4 dogs, you were seeking out the quality, the highest quality. You don't have to have that many litters and they be all sold out at the max value. Yeah. That's why I feel like I'm trying to get maybe 30. I would like to be able to say, hey, this dog, I only want to sell it for 30 and mean it. And like the only way I'm selling it if I get 30. Like that's how good it is. I feel like he could be the next Balto Joku cross mixed dog. You know what I mean? That he can run and big strong dog. I don't know, but I want to be at a place where I don't have to sell a dog if I don't want to, and no matter how much. If it could be $1 million,
I would say the thing about it. You not having to depend on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
ain't no rush. You ain't rushing for nothing.
If I had the room, because it wouldn't be the money because of the money. I'll make money because I do what I got to do to feed the dogs. If I had physically the room, I would get me a Dogo Argento, Kango, St. Bernards, Great Danes, Gordon Setters, Irish Setters. I would have so many different fucking dogs out there. It's crazy. I get a Borbal Mastiff. I get a Tibet Mastiff. I mean, I love dogs, man. I mean, I would say this. My first fucking book, the encyclopedia that I used to go through and read, that my grandmother had, that all of them was in black and white, right? This is 1968 version. But the one book that had pictures in color was the letter D. And that was the dog section. They had all different breeds. and it was all in color, but everything else is black and white. And at that point, I was like, man, I would have so many different type of breeds, bro. It'd be bananas. And the problem is, I'll be want to keep all the offsprings, and that's crazy.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad you put that one up. I wanted to make sure. What is the hyper type of Dobies being? What are I don't even know what that is. You know, bro?
Yeah. So,
Joe,
Vicente,
you heard of
Vicente
him?
Moore.
Yeah, Vicente. This our guy, Vicente. What's up, Rock Corso?
What is the hyper type? You know what it
Okay,
is, Joe?
So you never heard of it, have you?
No, not no hyper type Doberman. I know what hyper type Corso is.
Yeah. So it may be similar. So there's a breeder out there that had these dogs named Hunter. So okay, I'll give you a correlation. The Timbertall. I mean the Timitor. Timitor, look how those dogs are looking. Shorter muzzle. That's being created because of a defect, and now people like that look. Well, the hyper type Doberman is these Dobermans that look like almost like Rotties with the big heads. They're short, they're thick, and they look mean in the face. And it was a dog named Hunter. Hunter Vital Screen. And
he put him up.
Yeah, Hunter Vital Screen.
Mm-hmm.
And he had that muscular look in the face that he actually got from his dad, which is Fedor Del Nazi. So Hunter Vital Screen had that big chest, big look. That dog died in 4 years of age.
Oh, you saying that the hyper type is the exaggerated features, phenos?
Yes.
Same thing in the
You Google Hunter Vital Screen.
Yeah, I looked it up. He's like a big, thick, blocky, big bone Dobie.
Yeah, like in the Corso, they'll say like the boxer influence. You know what I mean?
It's more massive and more exaggerated.
Vicente said, there we go. I was hoping you would name drop. Well, I mean, there's only one breeder out there that's breeding. And what's crazy is that this lady on TikTok was talking about it, and I download her video and put it on my page, and it got so many fucking views on it. It was ridiculous. And if you notice some of the features on these hyper type Dobermans, they have web feet, flat feet. And I'm like, that ain't gonna work. I mean, dogs supposed to have them kitten paws, those tight.
Yeah.
You ain't supposed to have no web duck feet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what you're talking about. And people who buy these dogs don't know what they're looking at. They don't pay attention to the paws. They don't pay attention to the markings. They just go by what that dog look like. They forget everything else. So, Gerald, how hard is it to find quality European Dobermans here in the States? It's not hard, but you're going to pay, especially with the new CDC regulations that you can't import an animal until they're 6 months of age.
6 months. Yeah.
I mean, they're out there. I got referrals. I mean, they're always out there. But it's what you want. What are you looking for? Something to work or something to show? You know.
I want to say something too in regards to the importing while we on that subject. I would don't recommend for the average person or the just civilian that's really for the breeder, to do. That's not for you, because guess what? 9 times out of 10, when you bring in a dog that's 6 months, it didn't survive. It hasn't been, cultivated in the way that it's going to fit into your lifestyle. And you've already missed a very critical point in the dog's development. And it could be potentially, it's hard you have to be very intentional when you do that. When you're importing dogs, when you're bringing dogs in, it have to be very for a specific reason. 9 times out of 10, you don't just do that for a pet.
Yeah,
Joe,
yeah.
Sorry, Joe. Who are the good Corso breeders? First off, you got to figure out what the purpose of what you want. You want a pet? You'll have to email me that, and I really don't like to do that because I know too many Corso breeders. Now, it's not a lot of, I got the Central Asian Shepherds. Daniel Nash, I'll give you that one. Daniel Nash, Nemeth Patrick. There's another lady named Amanda. Towards the Corso, you ain't finna get me in no trouble.
Yeah, and that's a you know, you gotta define the good too, because
Yeah.
that good, my good could be different than your good.
Yeah,
And that
your
don't mean that you right or and I'm wrong. That
Yeah,
don't mean that I'm wrong and you right.
and you got to know your purpose with the Corso, because some people like the working style. Somebody just might want the big pet style. I mean, some people just breed just for pet and show. You know what I mean? So you got to know what you want.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Boy, this dude donating, boy.
I appreciate it, brother. Ain't no nation like a donate. I appreciate it, man, because you know what? I'm monetized, but I don't make money from this. So, shit, y'all might help me get another piece of
Let me
equipment.
read this. It says, pull up the Rottweiler York Von Weltall, so Gerald can see I just got a puppy out of him, and don't worry, the female has a BH and an IGP and a ZTP too. Yeah, that's shit. If the female got just as many titles or different types of variety titles as the male, you got a fucking 85% chance, if not higher, that variety gonna be able to work for whatever you're trying to do, whether it's dock diving, PSA, Mondio. It's going to have genetically. It's going to have those traits. Now, are they going to be able to compare it to their parents? Well, that's yet to be seen. You got to get the right trainer.
Vic, I'm looking for work in Euro Dobermans. I'm prior military dog handler, and now I'm a police dog trainer. I want something that's not typical to have in my yard that can still do the same job.
Well, I ain't hard to find. You can hit me up, and I got him in the right direction with some good females that I bred to that have the potential. Got a litter on the ground now. Got more litters coming. This guy gonna be breeding again. He's gonna be one of the hottest dogs in my camp as far as workability. So
yeah. Damn, so we didn't really get into your protection side. I'm not defending Butler, but it looks like Butler sent me some money tonight, brother. I'm not defending Butler, but it looks like he's simply mass producing his rotties like most other breeders overseas. The only difference is that you actually get to see the size. Okay.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people just have a problem when you start mass producing dogs in general. That they feel like that you're putting the emphasis on a profit over the dog welfare, and I think that's the general why people have a problem with commercial dog breeding.
It may be. I don't know about the Caney Corsos or the Borbals breeder subfamily, but I know the Dobie family. You know, there's some finicky motherfuckers out there, man. And it's like everybody's kennel ain't shit but theirs. You know what I'm saying? So
everybody do that shit. Everybody, yeah.
So dogs ain't shit. Yeah, so it's. I mean, are you really gonna find a breeder that says something positive about another breeder when they're trying to sell you their puppy out of their kennel?
Facts, Drew. Facts.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
But that's that barrel syndrome. You know,
it is. That's a sign of a person with some high integrity, though, if they will enough. I mean, I do that though. I will try to. I definitely don't want to be the one that's talking down on another person, a breeder. You know what I'm saying? Unless I want to be factual and informative, I say.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. How can we get hold of you? Before we go, I know it's getting kind of late. Gerald, at what point did you start getting into the protection world, and how's that process been for you? And can you talk about your YouTube channel?
I got into the protection part of it in 2011 while I was training with a guy named Otis James Knighton. They call him OJ. And I saw he was doing his group obedience, watered down shit. But on the other end of the field, I saw Lewis Williams having his dog named Musa run with a parachute and then take a bite all at the same time. So that right there enthused me. And then OJ was telling me, Gerald, if you want to make some money with the dog, you got to get a title on him. Because, a title for dogs in the Doberman world, it's like a degree. It's like the dog is proven in regards to what he can do on the field. Now, for me, the dog has to be proven. Now, on the field, like you can be a hell of a protection dog, but you don't put out quality shit. You know what I'm saying? I've seen dogs that hell of a dogs on the field, but they're not good producers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's always a combination of both. So I got into the protection game in 2011. The first thing I got into was IPO.
Hey, pardon me 1 second.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So cool. So when breeders mass producers allow you to select the cream of the crop if you're breeding for a particular purpose, but Butler just preaches on quality, but he doesn't specific what the quality is. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't really say what it may be because when you don't know the female's temperament, I'm not saying he does or he don't.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know what the dog's temperament is under different situations, then you're going to be basing your shit off what the stud is.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Can you pick a kennel off reputation for us, like say your dogs that we know you doing protection work? Can you pick a kennel that's like, I know them dogs are known for this?
Yeah.
And how many dogs do you think they range as far as having in their kennels?
Well, I know a couple of kennels right now, like Nemesis Kennel. He specifically makes sure that he keeps workabilities in his bloodline, 110%.
Mm-hmm.
And if he gets returned dogs, it's because the dogs are too much for the handler or the owner.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the couple of, but everybody else breeding, most of the people I know breeding for looks and not temperament.
Mm-hmm.
They're breeding for what the dogs look like. And most of the time, those dogs that they're creating could not be in any kind of conformation show.
Right.
At all.
Right.
I mean, it could be in a who's who beauty, but they're not going to be in no conformation because their gait's all fucked up. They got a big hump in the back. They don't have that straight line. So, the problem is with American breeders in whole is that over there in Europe, both parents need to have some kind of title, whether it's a puppy title, obedience, confirmation, protection. Here in America, AKC doesn't require the parents to have anything.
You're right. Yeah. You're right. But
And
since it's like that, do you think maybe the breed club should take more responsibility on their own, since AKC really ain't nothing but a registry?
The breed clubs, like the Doberman Club, Doberman International Club, and the Rottweiler Club, they do focus on the aesthetics, the conformation, the workability, etc. Those are annual fees for those clubs, but they don't regulate nothing by AKC. Gotcha. Now, the beauty behind them is that whatever title you get in a DCI, Doberman Club International, I think it's called, any title you get in a DCI, AKC recognizes on a pedigree. Mm-hmm. But the titles that I get on my dog are outside of that club. They don't recognize those dogs as title. They won't put the title on their pedigree because it wasn't AKC sponsored, which I don't care, because I'm going to have videos of my boys working. I'm going to have the trophies and the goddamn certificates and everything. So no, it may not be an official GED, but it's going to be it's equivalent. Mm-hmm. Right? Because it's so I don't get, some of those clubs, man, is so political, man.
Yeah.
That they have leverage.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not the guy to play games and play ball with you just to get something I want. This ain't corporate America. This is play shit.
Yeah. To me. Right. How would you advise someone to get mentorship when getting into the dog game? That's a hard deal there, boy.
And you got to get with a guy that's local to you, where you can just shadow him, learn dogs, clean up dog shit, be a gopher. Like when I was doing my internship at the police department in Jackson, I worked in the jail. This is when it was actually had a city jail before now everybody go to the county now. Mm-hmm. But during that time, I did intake. I wrote the names down in the goddamn book. I helped take the photos. I went to the cafeteria, brought the food up for the inmates. You got to learn how to do everything. You just can't. It's almost like, man, when a guy wants to buy a McDonald's, first of all, he's got to be sponsored by somebody who already owns McDonald's. You just can't come into a goddamn room. Hey, I got $10 million. I want to make. No. We got a bunch of folks that got $10 million. Mm-hmm. right? But then you got to go to the franchise program. You know, you got to learn how to cook the fries. You got to learn how to fry the chicken. You got to learn how to filter the grease that's been used 10 times over. You got to learn how to make the milkshakes. You got to learn how to make the goddamn breakfast. You got to learn how to run the register. You got to learn how to clean the commode. You got to learn how to do the drive-through. You got to learn everything. So the only way to be a master of your craft is that you got to start from the back. Well, the back is cleaning up dog shit, washing the kennels down, how to groom these dogs, how to feed them. You know, all those things. You just can't. Oh, I like the Boerboel Mastiff. I want to be a master breeder. No, you got to learn what these dogs. Every breed is different.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You got to learn from the back to the front. If you don't want to do that, don't come around. I got plenty of guys like, I want to do what you do. I want to be a stud guy. Okay. But then they realize that, okay, in order to be different than everybody as a stud guy, your dog has to go through a series of medical tests, but also protection title or obedience title or a sport title. Now that sets you apart because I tell people all the time, listen, I got some good dogs, and there are some greater dogs than mine out there, but you won't know about them because they're not being tried. They're not being proven. We don't know what their temperament like. Are they going to fight or flight? And these things are genetic, man. If a dog is skittish, he's going to stay skittish.
Yes.
If a dog defensive, you ain't going to break him. He's going to stay defensive. What do you want? Because you got to start from the back to the front. So, yeah, somebody want to be a part of you guys. You know, Jordan and Joe, you got somebody want to do what they do with you. They got to cut like, okay, Mr. Miyagi, what do you do? Motherfucker, like, I want to learn karate because they got their ass whipped by those white boys. It was like, all right, cool. All right, sand the floor. All right, paint the fence. Wax my car, motherfucker.
Right.
And he was like, you got to be doing all this work. What is it doing? He said, okay, come here. All right. He said, sand the floor, paint the fence, wax on, wax off. He was like, oh, shit. All that shit you had me doing, it was training me, but you didn't even know.
Yeah.
So now it's subconsciously inherited. Now you know what to do without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
So anybody want to do the dog shit, don't come to me that you want to be a stud guy and you want to just start making money. No. You got to be broke first. You got to lose money. You got to go through a couple of dogs. Then you may have a good dog. Then you got to get the dog trained. Then you got to get the hips and elbows done at 2 years of age. I don't do that pre-exam bullshit. And then dog may still come back with fucked up hips.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you gotta fail before you succeed in this, homie.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose thousands of dollars.
Yeah, you will.
You're gonna take some L.
Especially if you're looking at it if the goal is to make money, you're gonna take some L's. You're not gonna make money.
And then also, before you get into these breeds, you ones are just looking for mentorship. You got to start from the ground floor, like Gerald said. Find the enthusiasts that's willing to talk to you. Find your peers that's willing. I know guys that get on the phone, they just talk dogs.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, a lot of your mentors that you probably want to be mentors, if you ain't buying got the dog from them, you're not gonna get no info. I mean, it's racks involved.
Yeah.
So you have to get on the ground and walk your way up, you know. And sometimes too, finding the guys that's under those big mentors, you can learn a lot from them.
You know what I did, man? Like when I was going through depression and my dog got me out, I was hanging around Lewis almost like every other day, the dog trainer, Lewis Williams. And he didn't even realize that he was helping me get out of depression. It was like, and Lewis lived on the South Central, LA. Damn near, right? Which everybody know about South Central.
No, what about it?
Come on.
No, I'm just playing.
So what I'm saying is that I hung out over there as if I lived there because I want to know about this sport, this protection sport, how to train a dog, how to bring out the best, what to look for. And I spent like so much time with this guy, man. It was like, you know, because you think you're seeing, but you ain't looking. And then you start realizing like, oh, now I know how to read a dog. Now I know what this rag work is about. Now I know what flanking a dog does. Now I know how to turn that switch on, but you're not knowing these things, right? Now I know how when a trainer is sandbagging me for months. Now I know, like, motherfucker, we doing the same thing 8 months ago. We ain't did nothing new challenging on this dog. So now I know all these things, right? And there's still more to learn, but you gotta go deep. You gotta spend a lot of personal time if this is a passionate hobby and not just money making. Motherfuckers be getting into these Frenchie games, man. They be losing thousands of dollars getting seat sections and TCIs done, and they doing it just for the money. And they realize, like, fuck, just 2 puppies out of this shit, 3 puppies, 1 die. Like, man, I'm in this motherfucker by $3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, my advice is to start just with a pet that you love and establish value there. You know, be able to explain or show what the dog does for you. You know,
Yeah.
whether you know what I'm saying. I feel like, man, like you said, the depression thing, man. You can't put no price on a dog bringing you through that depression,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And you able to say that like this, I didn't have to take dope. I didn't have to take pills. I didn't have to take prescription medicine. I wasn't on alcohol. I just locked in with my dog.
Man, it's crazy because literally you guys cannot verbally communicate, but you guys are talking to each other
all day.
Anything. And it's crazy because it's like, you know, dog spelled backwards is what?
G-O-D.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, man, it's like Adam, his dog is actually a man's best friend. And it's like, I you know, it gives me purpose, man. Even though I'm married and I got kids and I got a job and I'm able to buy the things that I need in life, you know, shelter, food, or whatever. But man, nothing takes the place of a love of an animal because you've earned it. They don't give it to you automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Especially older dogs. Like, motherfucker, you got to starve my ass for me to fucking trust you.
Yeah.
That's how you break these dogs, these crazy dogs you get.
Yeah.
Starve those motherfuckers first, right?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
You got to feed them with your hand and shit. You know,
like,
with the food.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So for me, man, it's like when you build an unbreakable bond, man, it's like that's work that you put in that no money couldn't have bought that. Money could not have bought the bond you built. Like my boy Al, who trains my boys, he's like, man, Gerald, if you notice, I have that one about the Roddy saying how to train a protection Rottweiler on my YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. Al said it best without me saying. He said, Gerald do a great job with building a bond with his dogs. Mm-hmm. And for the first time, somebody noticed that.
And you can say to a potential somebody owner, this is what you can have. Maybe if you do these things, it's highly likely that this is the type of relationship that you're gonna have if you follow my example. You know what I'm saying? And it works. It works. It's easy. I mean, for me, with my dogs, I ride the bike with them, and then they have this. They easy to manage, and that works for my family of dogs and the people that you see that's doing that with their dogs. They get their dogs from me. Their dogs look phenomenal. You know what I mean? If they
that feels good though, man. Like,
oh man, that's more better than me having a good looking dog.
Right?
If somebody I gave a dog or sold the dog, they got the dog and it's looking fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
man. What's crazy is like, what's up, Vic? Shout out Gulfport on the coast. All right, baby. What's crazy is like I get excited when people send me pictures of their puppies all up to their grown. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I produce like I put blood, sweat, tears, money, fucking disappointment, sadness, sickness into getting the right shit so you guys can enjoy what I have.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because listen, I tell people all the time, listen, I made all the fucking mistakes so you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Just listen to me. I'm telling you what you shouldn't do. Do it if you want to. Go out there and play with it. Pull it out. See how big it is. And I promise you're going to get fucked up. Right? Mm-hmm. But I made all of the bad mistakes, all of the impulse buys, all of the financial disappointments so you don't have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's play with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop playing with me. I'm like, yo.
That's what you call a reputable breeder.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah. So for me, man, it's like I'm just blessed, man, that I'm able to afford this luxury because having an animal is a luxury. It's not a requirement, right? And my dogs are going to eat every day. They're going to get their kennel cleaned every day. May not be like clockwork. And we're going to eat every day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they keep me going, bro. Like, I work as the patriarch of my family here and of my wife's family and of my dad's side and my mom's side. So everybody depends on me now. Like, everything runs through me. Any issues, any concerns. And it's like, I take that with a badge of honor, but now I know I gotta be at my best no matter what.
I see how you work just on YouTube. You're really transparent, and your team, everybody down.
Yeah.
Make it happen, because that's a lot of breeders downfall, especially like living where I live in a rural area. I can't get to everybody that I might need to get to.
Right.
So I'm gonna have like Hecker coming through here. So I'm gonna stop through where I'm gonna work them dogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that team is important too.
Oh man. You listen, it's almost like a general contractor.
Yeah.
You're only as good as your subs, homie. You may have the license, but if your subs doing shit ass work, they don't. The contract don't have the sub's name on it. It has your name on that contract, right? Your DC license. And my thing is, man, like, I'm not throwing my wife under the bus here, but I'll just say this because nobody's perfect. But like, I can text her right now, send her a text message, and she may respond within a couple hours, maybe the next day, because she's just not expecting a text message, within time. Other than her, I sleep with my phone like it's a part of my body. So I have property managers in Mississippi, in Texas, Vegas, all the places that I have property at. You ain't gonna fucking text me and I don't reply within a matter of minutes, 30 minutes max, unless I'm in the shower, because you have to be readily available. People depend on you. If something happens to you, every fucking thing suffer. I don't give a shit. Even the little shit, like, could make the decision on your own. Come on, use good judgment. They depend on you to make the decisions. Like, everything revolves around you, and you got to be on your game, especially with these animals, because we can't go on vacation without a dog situation.
Right. Real quick, I wanted to highlight something about that I picked up on in my observation in our conversation, that you said that the dogs was a luxury, and I like that you pointed that out, because clearly you done came from the bottom to the top to the had it all, lost it all. That's basically kind of what I had gathered from your story, that you had been there. You done been through a lot. You done seen a lot. You done been to Cali, to LA, from Mississippi, and you was born in where you said you was born.
East St. Louis, baby.
East St. Louis. So you done been all over. You know,
across the bridge, baby.
And you have the dogs because you love the dogs. It seems that is that the case, but you say it's a luxury. You don't have to do this for money. And did you want to talk about that a little bit?
I mean, when you're buying a living, breathing animal, you are now going to be responsible. It's almost like my aunt has an autistic son. Tony's now is 48. So we basically grew up together. In the early 80s, autism was not talked about. Nobody knew what the fuck that was. Like, he's just not talking at 4 years old. He flips out if you turn the goddamn MTV off. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't know. But when you buy an animal, man, it's like they're going to be dependent on you for everything: food, shelter, water, cleanliness, hygiene, health. And it's almost like you're taking care of an autistic child, because if you have an autistic or special needs child, he or she is not going to be living on his own for the rest of his life. That means that when you die and he's still living, somebody has to be set up to take care of his ass when you're gone. And having an animal is just that way. You can't go on vacation on your 7-day fucking cruise.
Can't do it.
Eating 24 hours. You can't be out from 1 o'clock in the afternoon to 9 o'clock with your babe, right? Because now you're thinking about, damn, the dog's walking in their shit. Now I got to clean up more shit. You you ain't fed them. You know, the motherfuckers amped up. You know what I'm saying? You always thinking in the back of your mind about your animals. And I'll be honest with you, I got kids, right?
Mhm.
I think about these motherfucking dogs more than my kids now. It's like shit, man. It's like who needs who more right now? You know what I'm saying? Like shit, man.
Do you
'Cause,
find yourself checking in on the camera?
yeah, it's like what the fuck going on? It's like
Yeah.
so, man. No, man. It's a beautiful luxury that you can that if you're able to afford one to have not one but a couple animals. You know, let them be together and see how they move together, how they cohabitate. You know, but I got the 2 cats and the 4 dogs and it's like I actually want a 3rd cat. So you know they make these cats called these Savannah cats. Google that shit. That motherfucker look like miniature goddamn cheetahs.
Yeah.
I wanted one of those, right?
Yeah.
But Stephanie was like, "We got to rescue this kitten because they're gonna put her down." It's like the fucking pound always saying, "We're gonna kill these animals if you don't come out here and give us the $80." You know
Right.
like you
It
telling
is kind of
everybody
like
this shit?
I never
Come
thought
on,
of
man. So you got me.
thought
I
about
said I gotta
that.
get a black cat though. You know what I'm saying? Like because and just so happened this cat man is like she's like a damn dog. She's like
Yeah.
jumping up on you and it's like to me, man. It was like you can't wish for nothing else, man, except good health. Your family's cool and the animals are great. You know what I'm saying?
And you
Yeah.
know what, Gerald? I think they are necessities too, because especially like the areas we come from, Mississippi, we still a lot Oklahoma. There's a lot of people still working the hell out these dogs. They working them on chicken farms. And even if you in a neighborhood, like when I was coming up, my dad was always like a dog is a necessity because it is your eyes and your ears for the things
Right.
you see when you grow up in the hood.
But
You
it's
know,
not. But they wasn't required.
they wasn't
You want
required.
to get they something. See, it's
Mhm.
it's a luxury, not a requirement. Because
Mhm.
even though dogs cover more ground, like the Border Mastiffs and the Caney Corso, those are compound dogs. I mean,
Yeah.
they guarding the goddamn grounds,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And they're known to take care of large carnivore animals if they had to.
Mhm.
Yeah, that what I stopped and had to do because my neighbor hit me. He said, "Hey man, I can't even get through my to the garage because the dog done jumped on top of the doghouse. She acting like she about to jump over the thing. He trying to pull some chairs out of his garage. You know what I'm saying?
So it's still if you think about it, people may want one, they may get one to assist in security of the
Mhm.
livestock, but it
Mhm.
was still a luxury to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
I like mine's is essential though because this stuff could grow legs overnight around here, and
Mhm.
it'd be
Yeah.
moved down the street.
That's
You
what
know
we
what I'm
had
saying?
to have before when
Yeah.
and that's funny because Gerald moved into Oakland at a times like in the 80, 89, 90. That's when shit
94.
started. That's when shit those years things were changing
Oh,
in
it was
our
cracking.
neighborhoods. Yeah, it was.
It was cracking.
Yeah,
East Oakland was still East fucking Oakland. East
right.
14th, I don't give a shit how they name that street, International Street, changing the name. East 14th is still East 14th. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Fruitvale is still fucking Fruitvale. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So yeah, it was wild, man. And but the interesting part about living in inner cities is like it was always like crook on crook. It wasn't crook on regular people.
Yeah.
I
You get
stayed
some
in
more
the neighborhood.
jobs and
It's a
shit.
sign of the times, but because I feel like it's really getting bad though. Because
I
I
stayed in the neighborhood so dangerous it was safe.
Yeah.
So it was so much drug activity and prostitution. It was one of them. I was with this girl. She would kick me out every now and again.
After you drop some stuff off.
I forgot what I did. It probably was some money involved, but I guess she always figured out he gonna just go to his mom's house. He'll be back. I went found me the cheapest apartment I could the next day. And this neighborhood was Martin Luther King.
Well, you already know right there.
It was
Street
hell.
named Martin Luther King, man. Come on.
It was on. This neighborhood was so dangerous that they had a rule that no one stole off this particular street, and it never happened. I could put lawnmowers because the likelihood of you taking somebody that might be take somebody's stuff, that might be your life.
yeah.
And then another thing too. This neighborhood was so dangerous, you couldn't have a dog. You had to bring them in at night because so much activity going on in the alleys. The dog would alert So if they ever caught that dog, he gonna get some poison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was that bad.
Yeah, I done had dogs poisoned, shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my mom's dog got shot. Somebody was on the side of the house, and they, you know.
Yeah, that shit happens out here, man, where motherfuckers putting antifreeze on chicken and shit and letting the dogs eat the chicken and the dogs get all sick and die. And one guy shot my boy's Dobie that he imported. Rob spent at least $4,000 on his dog, and he lived in a high-end ass neighborhood. I'm talking about $1 million houses. And one of the neighbors shot the dog with a goddamn pellet gun. You know, and it's like, wow, that motherfucker going to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody don't know who you are, but Jesus know.
Mm-hmm.
My neighbor shot my dog with a gun, a real rifle, but like a 22 or something. He hit it in the leg. It shattered the bullet.
That's another thing though, Jordan. I mean, thank God I ain't got no neighbors right up on me, but having the type dogs you got, they're intimidating, and you got neighbors right beside you.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? Do you have the same issue, Jer?
Well, my dogs stay in the backyard, right? I'm on a corner lot, but I try to make an effort for the neighbors that are close to me to know who my dogs are.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be buddy with them, but I don't want them flipping out on you when they see you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Ben has the luxury of, he's in the middle of no fucking where. I never even heard of Amsterdam, New York.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was until he.
You know, so when you're living in a city that I live in, inner city, or even the burbs, we're gonna be stacked on top of each other. So unless I live somewhere to fuck out Riverside where I got 2 acres, can't have them. So my neighbors got to know that I got dogs, and they got to know they got to meet the dogs at some point.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because they will get out. They will get out that yard.
And then when they do, you see the fear of God in them people's eyes.
That's why you don't.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like it's a liability to protection train in the inner city, because your dog could possibly get loose and then it could hurt someone. You don't want it to feel like it's acceptable to be biting everybody or they're running from it. Right.
I'm gonna tell you, they will, when you open that door, it will slide through your fucking legs and you can't close your legs fast enough to go out.
Yeah.
And that so happens somebody gonna be on that sidewalk walking, and your dog better know how to respond and not think that everybody's a threat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I deal with the neighbors I have had, it's funny because you got to deal when the city, you have a lot of different variety of personalities, and I just really try to get along with even the most difficult people.
Yeah.
Knowing that, I'm here and my dogs could cause some, noise inconvenience or whatever. So I just try to be accommodating as possible. Like my dude just called me, told me he need to get in his garage to get them chairs, and he worried about the dog. But it's hard for them to get comfortable with the big dogs like that. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, so it's not a friend. They're not friends with the dogs.
But he got free security because he know that dog gonna let something know that's cracking.
Exactly. Because that's how we found out it was somebody breaking in the car. It was a couple of nights, Thursday, Monday. Yeah, it was Thursday, the same day the dog passed away. It was Thursday. And he like, yeah, man, that was what the dogs was barking at. So everybody appreciate that fact that they
like that part, don't they?
Yes. Yeah.
Jordan just said something. So if your dog was to get, your dogs are protection trained. If your dogs get out, do you trust that dog not to harm anybody, or does this dog do more of what you tell it to do?
Is that to me?
Yes, sir. That's for you.
Oh, I just said
you are future guest.
No.
I would say they do, and depend on the reaction of the person is how they respond. Now, my older boy Casanova will go into a down position if I tell him to go down, right? But the other ones, they see you running, they go say, "Oh, the decoy ran, so I'm gonna run."
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's like, so I don't want to put myself in that position where I have to make that decision. You know what I'm saying? Like that'd be very bad, because the Roddy Brutus, even though he knows how to out, When I tell out, I don't want him getting to that point where I have to say out.
Yeah.
By the time I say that, he's already on somebody, and I don't want that liability. That's why I'm a very big supporter of protection training, because you are teaching your dog how to identify what is and what is not a threat. That is very important to me. If you only do obedience training all the time and no protection training, the dog, once he has to get into protection mode, how do you shut it off?
Yeah.
You can't. You never shut it off.
They say protection is the highest form of obedience.
Absolutely, 110%. I told you guys about that story about my boy got out the house chasing the mailman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I was coming through I let Alonzo usually through the
No, you didn't
backyard.
tell. What was the story? The dog got out the house.
Oh,
The mailman came
this
to
is
the
what
door.
happened.
The dog bust out the door, chased the
This
mailman.
is what happened. This is a true story. So in Inglewood, the houses are like 4 feet from each other next door, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's gated. So I mean, nobody can come in the neighborhood without calling us and say, "Oh yeah, you got a guest. When we let them in." Only people that can come in without calling is the postman or UPS or FedEx, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I let Alonzo come through the backyard to the front door, and I didn't have a leash on him because the motherfucker dialed in. He knows not to trip out. I got him on obedience. I got him petting, got him letting 6-year-olds pet him with no problems, and they pulling his ears. He ain't flipping out. He's all desensitized, right? And just so happened I was opening the front door without the leash on him. Guess who's coming to the front door while I'm walking out with Alonzo, the postman, a black postman. And why I say black, because what our first instinct to do when we see a dog,
Run.
Yeah. Ooh,
Alonzo runs after the postman, and you know the postman, their door to get into to their truck is usually on the right side of the van, so they can deliver mail driving right down on the right side of the street. So he runs to the left side of the van. Ain't no sliding door on the left side. The postman got 2 legs. Alonzo got 4. He covers more ground. And I talk French to all my dogs. I don't do English words because everybody know that name. Everybody know down, stay, sit, heel. You can control my dog.
Mm-hmm.
So I talk French. And I saw Alonzo bolt after the man. He missed his calf muscle. And I said, Alonzo, couché. Couché in French means down.
Yeah.
Motherfucker went into a down position while he was in pursuit. Now, had that motherfucker not been trained, I would have lost my house. I would have lost my insurance. And I would have had a 6-figure lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be settled. And all of that boiled down, people bitch and complain about, oh, that's too much for training. You're training to minimize your liability. So when a trainer is charging you $2,000 a month for board and train, pay that shit with a smile. You got to get out there and train with him too, because he's really teaching you how to administer these commands. Right? He's not a remote control. So if I didn't have that training with Alonzo, I'd have lost everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people that story all the fucking time, because had it been any other kind of dog that was not obedience trained, whether it was a Cane Corso, a Presser, or Border Master that only knows one speed, and that's go, it'd have been fucking rap. Mm-hmm. And we talking about biting down to the white meat on your body, not that red shit. We talking about to the white meat.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm a huge supporter of protection training, because most dogs don't listen to you when they're in that prey mode. They got tunnel vision.
Mm-hmm.
How many times we got in a fight as a young man? We fight.
Blacked out. Yeah.
We fighting. We don't even know we fucking hurt. You know, we don't hear nobody talking. I just want to zone on this dude and whip the fuck out of his ass. And we're going to have to run it back a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with a dog. When we got that fucking tunnel vision on, well, they listen. In the heat of
the battle. Yep.
Boom.
Yep.
Yeah. That's when your words gotta hit like a lightning.
Boom.
Obedience. Yeah.
Yes. I remember, man, like yesterday, man, I was saying, Alonzo, Couché. I was like, is this motherfucker gonna listen when I need him to listen?
Yeah.
And that's when I said, man, when he died, a part of me died because that dog, he and I were one, man. I mean, he bit his fucking arm a lot of time. I had to put burnt motor oil on his legs to keep from biting his legs and shit for no reason. I bite my nails. It was like we were made in heaven together, man. I'm gonna meet him one day again, but I'm telling you, man, that motherfucker right there, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody could say
Man,
could say shit about that dog and really and say fucked up shit about it, and they really meant it. That dog was everything, and that dog put me on the map.
Yeah, you know what's funny, man? It made me think of my story, a story how I learned how to train dogs. My cousin had a Doberman. This dog was on point. His name was King. Black. Well, it was a King Doberman. He came from Kimbertall. His name was Black. It was a King Doberman. And one day, me and my other cousins was in the rental truck. He didn't recognize us, and he stopped the dog. And the dog was loose, running down, was loose 3 or 4 houses down. And my cousin was back 3 or 4 houses in watering the grass. The dog had went out to use the bathroom. And my other cousin was in the truck with me. We were calling the dog.
Yeah.
And he stopped listening to his dad. He stopped listening to his dad 3 houses down.
Right.
So when we pulled down and the dog came back, and my cousin went and grabbed the dog, and he said, no, no, no. He grabbed it by the leash, and they had that, he put that choke collar on it, and he said, no, no, no. And then the dog went and sat on the porch, and he snatched it up. But that taught me right then. I said, oh, that's how you train dogs. He taught the dog his words hit as hard as he did when he snatched it up. The next time he said no, the dog stopped what it was doing, immediately came back. And that lesson always stuck with me. I said that was how he had very great control of this dog, man. And it was,
you know, that's so, listen, what to me is what's so impressive is when people have complete control over their dog on and off leash.
yeah.
That shit is like,
Yeah.
listen, man, listen, obedience trainers, canine trainers, they make the most money on obedience. I mean, a lot of people don't want to do protection training.
No.
But
Everybody
the
want
canine
obedience.
trainers make money off of obedience.
Yeah.
And to have your dog dialed in on obedience without a leash is fucking, that means your
That's crazy,
word
man.
Yeah.
just as powerful as your corrections.
Yeah, the police call me Jungle Larry. I'll be riding through the city with my dogs on the leash, off leash, through the city, man. He like, bro, you cannot do that. You like, who do you think you is, Jungle Larry? I'll be riding through the city with my dogs off leash, though, 3, 4, 5, 6 dogs in a pack, just kicking it, and people scared to death. You know what I'm saying? Because it looked like a wild. I feel like I'm riding a horse. And a bunch of, I'm riding a bike. It feel like I'm back in the day, and I got my tribe behind me. And you like, we get ready to, you know what I'm saying? Like, back in the day, man, it make me feel like it's crazy, man. Yeah. I love it though. I love it with the pack of dogs, man. It's one of the best things for me.
Man, we could talk all day on this one, can we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know we gotta let you go.
You know, it's 3 hours now.
Yeah. We got one tomorrow. Yeah, we gotta go. Yeah, we got one tomorrow. Me and you.
We do?
No, me and Gerald.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been good. We're gonna see Gerald a lot more anyway.
Yes, sir. Definitely, man. Definitely. I didn't even get to my questions I had wanted to ask, but it's all right though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We'll hit them next time.
Yeah. Yeah, we gotta come back,
do it
man.
Again.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, everybody, everybody. Yeah. Hey, that's that South. Put some South in your mouth. Hey,
we got a lot of questions, man. People chimed in on this one, dog.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it was the chat was pretty heavy tonight.
See, everybody, see, Jordan got the 200K subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now.
I can't even believe it myself. Like, what, really?
Like, what's cracking here?
Balto. That Balto took me to the next level.
Gerald, you got 60-something thousand.
Almost 70, yeah.
Yeah, almost 70,000. Yeah. My little poet ain't got 2.
Hey,
you got people chiming in though.
You got the
That's real, yeah.
Stop playing, y'all. Don't forget subscribe. NWA.
Yeah, I got a good I got a nice good.
Put it up, Doug.
Yeah, Doug, he's in the house. I've been seeing him in here representing. Yeah, I got some hardcore dudes that come see me. So yeah, so it's been fun. Gerald, how do the people reach you? Closing marks, benediction.
How you guys can reach me? You follow me on YouTube. I check my messages. Go to All World Doberman Club or my Instagram handle, European Doberman Stud. I'll pop right up. Or Facebook page at European Doberman Stud on Facebook. When it comes to my personal page, stay the fuck away from that. Yeah. But the other stuff, and I get back to it, give me 24 hours. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't do this for a living. I do this as a hobby. So get at me.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, and big blessed respect to you, man, for the work that you do, man. I really appreciate hearing that coming at, because that's a good point. It ain't Mississippi Mississippi representative. Mississippi
baby. Crooked letter. David Banner.
David Banner.
Actually, yeah, Crump. I know Crump.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Well, we'll see y'all tomorrow for Janine Orfano. That'll be me and Brother Gerald doing that interview. And Ben White Friday.
Yeah, and don't forget, y'all, we got the Alpha Dog Showdown coming up the 21st of September 2024 in Hampton, Virginia. If you got a big dog, bring them out. It could be a Doberman, a Corso, a Band Dog, a Bulldog, a Dogo, a Borbo. Well, I always say, how we coming with them Borbos.
Yeah, my boy doing Band Dogs, right? He been doing Band Dogs for a minute. Aaron Hall.
Bring them out. Yeah, I'm hip to Aaron Hall. I seen his dogs before.
Yeah.
He got about 6-7 of them, right? And they Corso crossed with Dame, mixed with a couple other things. Yep, I seen that. My young
damn. Oh, damn.
That Aaron Hall. He
Hall.
good friends with Vanguard K9. Shout out Ulysses, man. Yeah. Okay, guys. We'll see y'all the next one.
Woo!
Yeah, thanks, y'all. Thanks for joining. Much love, y'all. Peace and respect. Don't stay busy. Stay active.
Set it up.